What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 23 of the Former Action Guys podcast. I'm kind of mind blown that we're all the way up to episode 23. It is what it is, but it's pretty wild. It's been a good time. I've met a lot of good people so far. I've got some stories out there, so I'm hope everyone's enjoying it. If you are, make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're telling other people about it. This week, I have my buddy Michael Hanthorne back on. If you haven't listened to his show, he's in episode 4, where he really details his career as a motor T operator, his time in Fallujah, having to do mortuary affairs and stuff like that. This time, we do talk about some military stuff. We talk about military stuff, obviously, but we're also talking about cars. We're talking about off-roading stuff because Michael's really into doing like off-road. He goes on the eastern part of the country and travels around and does off-roading and stuff like that. So hopefully, there's a little bit of everything for everybody. So enjoy.
I'm not nervous.
Don't be nervous, Mike. Don't be nervous. Welcome back. And here we go.
And here we go. Thanks for having me again.
What's up, man?
Chilling.
How's life?
Good. Busy. Working.
Working?
Yeah.
Through the holidays?
Oh, yeah. You know me.
You know, you and Chad are both union guys. And you both worked more in the holidays than anybody else I knew. I thought the whole fucking point of being in the union was you got, weekends off and shit like that. He's working 6 days a week, like 12 hours a day.
Yeah, well, I mean, my plant doesn't shut down. I think Chad's at SIA. So
yeah.
They probably want to get that expansion done, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I was giving him shit about it. I was like, the same shit. I was like, but it's one of those things like, yeah, you can be like, hey, I don't want to work this much, but that obviously the politics. The politics also comes into play. Like, well, if you're not gonna, someone else will. Is what I'm getting at. Like, if you don't want to, cool. You don't have to. But
yeah, like I was telling you earlier, like I'm on my 3 years. So the way my schedule works, so every 3 years you'll have 3 years off. So you'll work Christmas for 3 years, then for 3 years you'll have it all
for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So the expectation when you go there to start working, it's like not just a job; it's a career.
Yeah.
You're gonna be there.
Yeah, I mean, most guys.
Yeah.
But
most
the younger generation, they piss away a lot of shit.
Most serious people, that's why you got to tell people, it's like you're not looking for a job, man. You're looking for a career. Like, figure out what you want your career to be.
And for where we're from, I mean, to make 20, I think I'm with our new raise, I'm 28.01 an hour. I mean,
that's a lot of money in Lafayette, Indiana.
That's a lot of money.
Dollar goes a long way. When I looked it up with my neighbor, my old neighbor, 100 days plus a year under freezing is the average for Lafayette, Indiana.
Really?
Over 100 days a year on average below freezing. And I'm like, dude, that's why I stay in San Diego.
I don't blame you, though. Like you get to come back and it's... let me ask you a question. How's it coming back? I wondered this today. Like, so your home is now San Diego. You're situated out there.
Uh-huh.
How's it coming back here? Is it still like coming home because your family's here? Or is it...
You talking about just coming home to visit?
Yeah, because like when you're in the Marine Corps, this is your home.
Yeah.
I guess...
Well...
in a difference, you had...
yeah, you were in the barracks, so it was different for you. I was married with a kid, so, I just kind of... I moved a lot when I was a kid, too, so I don't really claim any... Like, Lafayette, if people ask where I'm from, I'm like, I'm from Lafayette. But, like, my sister says Chattanooga, Tennessee, because we spent... like 10 years in Chattanooga, Tennessee, in 2 or 3 different, I think 3 different houses there.
Yeah.
And so coming home's cool to just come see family.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's not like it was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Cause I mean, your life's in San Diego now.
Yeah. And I don't even call San Diego home really. I'm just kind of a transient, Yeah. Because I'm in an apartment, I'm just waiting to get done with school. Like I moved into that apartment not because I'm like, you know what, this is the place where I want to be for a while. It's like I moved into that apartment because it was 10 minutes from school.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was driving 45 minutes each way.
And
so
that's 45 minutes no traffic.
It's what is nice though is coming home. Yeah, 45 minutes no traffic.
Yeah.
I don't get that in Lafayette, Indiana. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get pissed on 52 and it's backed up.
I remember being like, oh, we got to drive to Kokomo. That's like, oh, fuck. It almost feels like it's an all-day affair.
Yeah.
And in San Diego, that's just like
that's like
whatever activity you're going to do that day is probably going to take that long. Coming home, though, is cool. I like coming home because I still have friends here, like
Yeah.
you and Chad, you know, everybody. And obviously, my family, my mom, my brother, my sister, and everybody. My dad was down here for a little bit. He came down from Wisconsin.
That's cool.
So it's cool getting everybody together and seeing family. I'm just so, I guess I've been out of it so much. Like it means way more to my mom than it does to me. And I don't mean that to be like an asshole, but I just know that she loves seeing me. Plus, I was here this summer.
Yeah, I mean.
So that makes it, you know, before when I was in the Marines, I might come home maybe once a year. Yeah. And now this is the second time I've been home. So it doesn't feel like I was kind of gone that long.
Well, and it's not that, you know, I always felt like when you left on deployments or whatever,
Yeah.
you always have that goodbye, you know, like
Yeah.
where your mom's going to get emotional. And
Well, she gets emotional no matter what. That's her style. But yeah, no, what is cool though, while I'm here, I talked to her about it because she's getting older. My uncle, he's older, but I mean, he's still in pretty good health and stuff like that. My other uncle and Craig, you know, Craig. We're gonna go out to his house tomorrow, and I told him I was like, "Hey, I want to sit down, and you know, if you guys want to drink or whatever, or smoke or whatever, I want us to sit down, us three, and you guys tell me the family history, like everything you can remember from when you were little kids all the way up to now, because." My mom is like super like family oriented, like to the extreme. I was talking to her the other day, dude. She was like, "Oh, my grandmother had 12 sisters that lived. Dang. I think my grandmother's parents had a few other kids that didn't live, past being toddlers. Some of them were stillbirths, and some of them died. You know, because it was rough back then." But can you imagine having all girls, 12 girls in one family?
Hell no.
And I was like,
for your grandpa.
Yeah, you know, and I asked her, I was like, do you know all of them? Like, did they all hang out? Because, you know, sometimes really big families like that, like the oldest one doesn't really necessarily know the youngest one as well. Yeah. You know, because they're off living their own life. They're like 30 or 40, you know?
Yeah, and they already have kids of their own.
Exactly. And my mom was like, no, they all kind of lived in the same area, and they were all hanging out together all the time. They had houses by each other in Tennessee, down in the hollers, you know. Yeah. They could walk up the hill to so-and-so's house, and they would all hang out and stuff like that. So, but she was telling me she named off, like, all the sisters. She started naming off all their kids. You know, my mom's, like, super into family. So I know she knows a lot about the family. And then my uncle, he was the youngest of my mom's brothers because she was the only female. And so anyway, I was like, I think it'd be cool to like tell the stories that, you know, grandma and grandpa used to tell. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it all recorded, and then I'm going to send it out to the family.
That's cool.
You know, I'll probably make a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link or something like that and send it out so everybody can, you know.
Listen at their own convenience.
Yeah. Yeah. So that way we have like a recorded, because, you know, if you don't ask,
you ain't gonna never know.
Did you know your great grandparents?
No.
I mean,
I think
it's like, do you know anything about them? You know, it's like.
Well, I mean, I know they're immigrants from, I think, wasn't it Sicily, Jesse? They're Italian. I mean, Italian descent.
Oh, buongiorno. I took 2 semesters of Italian.
I know. I heard on the last one of the podcasts. No, so, like, my great-grandpa on my grandma's side, he owned a store in Chicago. And, like, Martin Luther King, like, marched down the streets. And, like, of course, you know, back in those days, it wasn't a good thing. You know, like, my great-uncle would always tell stories, like, sitting on the porch with a shotgun.
Oh, yeah?
You know, and you just because the rioting and stuff that came along, well, not necessarily, you know, Dr. King didn't incite violence, but, you know, people, and I think, you know, in those days, it was probably the white folks that were causing more trouble than
could have been.
But yeah, so like the store, and I always hear that. And my great uncle, he was a Okinawa vet in the Army.
Oh,
actually.
No way.
And like he had the camera. Like actually, when you come over New Year's Eve, I'll get those pictures out. He actually was like one of the few, of course, in 1944 or whatever, like to have a camera. You know, like we had cameras the whole time.
Yeah.
Know? And for him, like I have pictures of like the native Okinawa women.
Oh, no way.
He's actually got a picture of the Enola Gay.
Oh, no shit. That's
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so.
Huh.
So he's got a lot of good stories. And like, my grandma was, I think, 5 or 6 years younger than him. And during the Depression, like, he always told me, like, in Chicago, in the train yards, the coal cars would go by and they drop coal off, and all the kids from, like, the neighborhood would be running out there, like, trying to grab up that coal to keep warm. And
isn't that a crazy, like, what was that, 100 years ago? Less than.
Yeah.
Less than 100 years ago. And what a completely different, like, life, like, people had back then.
I know.
Completely different. Like, you're burning coal to stay warm, and you're like...
Yeah.
It's so crazy, dude. That's just, like, so much has happened in, 90 years or 100 years.
Just think about in the last... because we're getting ready to end a decade.
Yeah.
Think of 2010. Where were you at? What was going on? Like...
Oh, man, I don't even...
but like, technology-wise.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
It's crazy to think how far we've came in 10 years, let alone from 1930.
I think 2010 I might have had a Razor phone, but I'm not 100% sure. I might have been on the Motorola Razor.
Well, that's better than that Nokia brick you guys were talking about a couple podcasts ago.
Yeah, dude.
Playing Snake.
Dude, Jordan was playing Snake the other night. Jordan's my sister, for people that listen. Jordan was playing Snake on some game. That was her game back in the day. Everybody had, like, their game, Yeah. Everybody's got their thing that they're good at. She was good at Snake and Tiger Woods, golf.
Yeah, like everybody's playing Call of Duty Mobile now, like at work.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like, I just listened to that podcast that you were talking about. I think the Sergeant Major Offutt was talking about, like the Snake, or maybe it was you, playing Snake on a Nokia brick. And I'm like, these motherfuckers are playing Call of Duty Mobile.
It's crazy. It's crazy. My kid plays, he'll play Call of Duty on his phone sometimes, but he likes playing Fortnite on his phone. He left Fortnite for a while and came back. Pro tip, if you have, at least with the Samsung phone, his Xbox One controller links to his phone. So when he's playing, like, mobile, he's, like, murking dudes because he's on an actual controller playing.
Oh, nice.
So if you ever do pro tip, if you ever do any of the cash tournaments, because that's what he's working to do, is get in some of the cash tournaments. Dude,
that's awesome, though.
They're making money, man.
Like, who would have thought that you can stream a video game now, like on Twitch, and like there's guys making millions of dollars.
Did you see that kid? Well, that's not video games. There's some kid, they said the other day, some YouTube kid made $24 million this year on YouTube. But his wasn't gaming. His was I think he was not one of the, I won't call him an original YouTube star, but he was like, he's been around for a little bit because he started him out as like a little toddler, and they had him opening toys and like seeing which ones he liked and
toy reviews almost.
Yeah, but as a
child.
Yeah, as like a 5 or 6 year old, and then he's just been doing it for so long that his following is huge. He gets sent free stuff all the time, and then the way YouTube works, it's something like 8,000 every million hits on YouTube is like $8,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's why YouTube people are putting out content constantly.
Yeah. Because
they're just trying to hit. Some people are trying to put out as much as they can because they know they're going to get
revenue and all that.
Yeah, even if it's not great, I'll get 800,000 out of this one, and then the next one I'll get 1.2 million, and the next one I'll get 900, whatever.
Yeah, look,
it's a weird business model, but it is.
But I mean, it's awesome though. Like, people are making money doing like vlogs of their daily life.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, like,
there are way more people into blogs than I realized. I thought that was like a 2010 thing, but
like
apparently
an actual blog.
Yeah, like a blog, like blogging websites are still like a major. We were talking about it in class. Blogging websites are just like still like a huge thing that people are, because you got to think when you look up a recipe and it says go to samanthakitchen.com or whatever. That's a blog. When you go into
Shout out to Samantha.
Whenever you go to it and it's like, you're like, oh, I want to go here to learn how to make honey barbecue ribs or whatever. And then you get there and it tells you like a 4,000 word story before it gets to the recipe.
Yeah.
That's the blog. That's you don't think about that as being a blog, but that's what that is. So they're actually real popular. Cooking ones are real popular. But
yeah, like, that's, to me, like, I watch guys on YouTube, and I guess what drives me nuts. So, like, if you watch a guy, like I watch a kid, I'll say his name, but you can bleep it out if you want. Taylor Ray. He has an LS Miata.
Okay. Who is it?
He's a drifter.
Oh, okay.
He's like pretty much like a I think it's Formula 2, like the stage below. Like he's amateur still, but
he's working his way up.
The dude's a hell of a mechanic. He taught himself how to weld. I've been watching him for 3 years. And you read the comments, and there's so many fucking haters.
Oh yeah,
he just got sponsored by Blaster, PB Blaster.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, hey, this is brought to you by PB Blaster. I've been using this shit for a long time, and people were like,
fucking sell out.
I'm like, man, dude's making a living. Working on his car, driving around the country, drifting.
Well, the people that are like that, I think, tend to forget the amount of time it takes to make some of this stuff.
You were telling me how long it takes to edit a video or edit a podcast.
Yeah, if you go through and you want to be a professional edit of a podcast or something like that, and let's say it's 2 hours long, you're listening to so the 2 hour podcast itself. And then every piece that you want to edit, you have to listen to it, get to that point, verify you're at the right point, cut it right there, cut it past, the end point of what you want to edit, then go back and edit that piece or remove it or do whatever, and then continue on for 2 hours minimum, because that's how long it takes just to listen to it. So it can take time. When I first started doing the podcast, I was editing a lot of stuff in it, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let it ride. I want to get the sound to be consistent, with the microphones. I know how to set everything up. I know how to get everything where I need it to be. But unless I need to go back and remove a name or a location or something like that, someone said that they didn't want to, I don't really mess with it. When I was sick a couple weeks ago, I would go back. Those ones I edited. That's the most I edited in a while, because I would go back and try to cut out as many of the coughs. I coughed way more than what you hear on the podcast. I was dying. I would turn my microphone and cough and all this stuff. So I had to go back through and cut out as much as I could. And it takes time. So at some point I'll probably get advertisers on this one, but
that'd be cool.
It just takes time. And when you look at how much time you put into it, I don't think it's an unreasonable expectation especially if people are real fans or followers, and they're glad that you produce this content and they want you to keep doing it. They can't be like that and at the same time be mad that you're getting paid, because you're taking away time from other stuff. I could be working toward another business venture. I could be hanging out with my kid.
Doing whatever.
I was on Christmas Eve and I was like, hey, I gotta take 5 minutes to record an intro for this podcast. And my kid's like, are you serious? It's Christmas Eve. And I'm like, dude, I got to release it tomorrow, and I've got to have an intro on it and all this stuff. And it's just it's shit like that, it's and then you got to set everything up, and then, but if you're hating on somebody for getting advertisers, you should be supporting it. Dude, good on you, man, you made it.
Yeah.
You put in the time. Everyone loves Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan. Everyone loves Joe Rogan now, and Joe Rogan's at his 1400th episode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? More than that, really, because he stopped counting his MMA shows towards the actual number. So it's more than that. It's hundreds more than that. So that means, let's say he started getting real popular around 800. That means 800 episodes that he had to make, his own time, other people's time, electricity, freaking time. Time is a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's not unreasonable to be like, okay, this dude wants to put ads, in the middle of his thing. Now, if your podcast or your, YouTube show or something like that was 2 minutes of content, 2 minutes of ads, 2 minutes, something like that, that's a douchebag move.
Yeah.
But if you want to slip in a 15-second spot, 30-second spot, or whatever.
You can pay for YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
If you don't want to watch the ad.
Yeah.
But, I just feel like people hate just to hate.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
Because people are jealous of success.
People are jealous of anything, even if it's not.
It's pretty sad, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it is.
You see a difference in people when you get out, in your own. I mean, I've seen you work, you have a full-time job. I haven't had a regular working for somebody job since I've been out. I've just been going to school and working for myself. But the people I've been around and stuff, in school, working on projects and shit, people are definitely way more selfish, in the real world, and than they were in the military. I felt like it was more let's get everything done, let's do it, let's work together, get this shit done. So so we can be successful and go home, whatever. And then in the real world out here, it's just everyone's kind of putting shit off until someone else will take care of it because they don't want to fucking do it. And that's frustrating and stuff, but I don't know. It is what it is. Like, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just, I don't know. What were we talking about? Fuck. I don't even know what brought me to that. People are assholes. Oh, they're jealous of success.
Success.
And then some guys, you know, some of the guys in the military, some people like, I tell guys, I've had other guys that hit me up. They're like, hey man, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. Hey man, I'm selling these shirts. Hey man, I'm doing this. And it's like, cool man. Like, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
You know, I had one of my buddies start up a page, and I don't know if he thought he was like stepping on my toes, but he like gave me a heads up. And I'm like, dude, I knew you were starting it. I started following you on Twitter a couple of days ago. I saw the Twitter thing pop up, and I was like, oh, who's this? Found out. I was like, it's cool, man. Like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast and promote it?
Shout it out,
yeah, because like, why not help you be successful? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. But
there's a lot of people that are selfish and wouldn't use, you know, you already built a platform with this podcast that wouldn't, you know, even though he's your buddy, but you know, he might become more successful than you.
Fuck it, man.
I mean, but that's how people think.
You know, that's a circle of people you want to be. If you're not, if you want to be in a circle of people that everyone's helping each other race to the top,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Unless they're douchebags about it. Now, if it was some dude that's like, oh, this is going to be way better, you know, like, a douchebag about it, then fuck you. But, you know, I think everybody should support each other coming out. But you're right, dude. There's not, I don't know. I've had, I know people were like, what are you doing, dude? Like, where are you starting a page? Where are you starting a website? Where are you starting, like, what are you doing? You know, like, you start an Instagram page. You know, when I first started my Instagram page, you know, I've like, You have no one to hit up, so you do like, hey, add all contacts and phone. Like, fuck it, let's see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
And you just start building up, and it went from like, oh shit, I got 50 followers. Oh shit, I got 100 followers. Oh shit, I got 1,000 followers. You know, and it's just like, at the beginning, there were definitely people that are like, what the fuck's he doing? You know, and I know they're like talking shit. You hear about it, like they'll, you know, people are talking shit and like, bro, that page, blah blah blah, or whatever. But people quickly change their mind when they start to see you're having some success, and then it's like, yeah, fuck you, man.
Like when you came home in the summer and you told me that you did that charity and like the order that you got, and I was like, damn. Like,
yeah, it was crazy.
You know, and that, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I sent a they finally, it took a while, but for the main one, the one that sold the most for one of the kids, the charity that was pushed the most, I had the money for like since June. Yeah. I think they just told me a month ago what scholarship they set up a scholarship. So
that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. That was like the first time I did something that I was like, dude, this is like that. I don't know. Doing a charity is cool because you feel like you're really helping out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I got letters from the family, you know, I got emails from the family and texts, and they're like, you don't know, you know, this really brought us together. Like, cause the shirts had the logo. It's for, what happened was Robert Hendricks, Robert Hendricks. He was reaching out to me and doing t-shirts for his team while they were in Afghanistan. And his mom made like the logo on the back. She like drew the logo on the back and stuff. And we were going back and forth and stuff. And then this summer, he got killed with two other dudes, you know, and we'd already been in contact and stuff. And one of the guys on the team was like, hey man, we'd like you to do the memorial shirts. And they sent me, I don't know if they sent me his photo. They might've been like, hey, can you do something with the photo? And I just took it and put it in like Illustrator and did some stuff on my computer. And I was like, hey, you know, how does this look? And sent it back to them. And they're like, that's awesome. I was like, hey man, I'll just, you know, I'm not trying to make money off of it. I'll send it all to charity or whatever. And after I did that one, they're like, hey, because this was, I think, Robert's team that reached out. Other members of the platoon were like, hey, can you do the other two guys as well? And I'm like, that's no problem. I don't know, man. It just, one of the guys that was killed, his fiance started a page. I think it's a private page, so you can't find it, for the family and stuff, and she added me to it. But they buy the shirts, or all the shirts they've bought. Anywhere they go, they take a photo wearing it. So like at a football game or like hiking up a mountain, you know. So like shit like that, it's cool, you know, because you're like, dude, you know, like people appreciate it. Like it's good for them. Like, so that was like one of the cool things that I was like, yeah, this makes it worth it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, I don't know. But you got to watch out for the haters. They're not haters. They're all really great people. And, I still talk to some of them every once in a while. But
no, we're not talking about the haters from that.
No, those aren't the haters. Those are, I even told the family, I was like, hey, you can make more money for the charity if I send you the images. I'll give you the images for free and find a local printer, because you're having to pay shipping, and I'm getting it, I'm not actually printing it myself. I'm contracting a guy, and I'm like, in the amount, because we're talking tens of thousands of dollars of shirts that they bought. And it was quite a bit. And they were like, no, we want to keep coming to you to help support, and they're like, don't take all the, don't give all the money to charity, keep some of it. And I'm just like, yeah, so they were super cool about it and stuff like that too. Robert Hendricks' family. So, good. But yeah, stuff like that is why, I don't know, why I think it's cool doing this. When I first started the t-shirt company, I was like, no one can find Anglo t-shirts. Like, you have to call a guy back at the unit, or you have to like, hey, get on Facebook. Is anyone at the unit? Or if you're on like the first Anglo Facebook page, hey, can anyone there give me a t-shirt? Because no one sold them. You could find the really crappy ones where they take like the logo that would normally be over your like left breast, and they make it, it's from China because it's the giant one on your chest. You're like, that shit. No, there's no military guy that did that.
Yeah.
And those are the only ones you could find, and they charge like $30 for a t-shirt, $40 for a hoodie. And I was like, fuck that, man. Like, some dude asked for one, and I was like, let's start it up, man, and let's start hooking dudes up. And I got a lot of letters from Anglo guys. I actually just got one. I'm not going to look for it. It'll take me a second to pull it up. But this old dude from Vietnam was like, yeah, I was with Anglo in Vietnam. Like, no one has subunit 1, because it was subunit 1. First Anglo is the designation. Yeah. And he's like, no one has anything. Like, I'm so glad I found your page. Well, and he just like, and that's the kind of stuff you're like, man, I'm glad, like, now this dude can rock a sticker. This guy has a t-shirt for his unit. Like,
well, I seen those two, I'm assuming they're Anglo guys. They had the flag in between their desks.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool. What's the chances of two Anglo guys working? Unless they're still in.
Oh, no. Those, I think the one you're talking about, you know what? No, neither one of those dudes were Anglo. I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
It was like a black flag.
Yeah, they're all black. I don't know.
But
One of my buddies posted on Facebook, Eric Wilson, him and one of the other dudes that was on the show, they were both over at 10th Marines with me, and they work at Fort Sill now, doing Joint Fires Observer course instructors and stuff like that, and doing different things. So, they put all their stuff up on display.
That's cool.
But yeah, man, it's cool. It's a community. That's what it should be. It should be a community where it's self-sufficient,
Especially with Anglo.
Like, I guess I'll put it out there. Like, if there's anybody out there that's like a veteran.
Hey, you can maybe make that shirt that I've been asking about for like 4 years.
I don't remember. You have to tell me.
You always forget.
I'll have to, if there's like a veteran t-shirt company out there that wants to do my printing for me, hit me up. Let me know your stuff. formeractionguyspodcast@gmail.com. And maybe I'll change my printers up, because the printers I have now aren't. They're not. They're an American company, but they're not veterans and stuff. But it'd be cool to put some vets to work. Yep. I'm all about that. But yeah, man, it should be a community. I think that's what it should be, and it's all kind of like a little ecosystem. I got like the podcast. I got this website. I thought about making a private server. Like, I have an old tower, computer tower.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy actually to make a private server. Like, you just basically upload a program to it. And I was thinking about making a private server and making like an actual web page with like a portal people can get into and do stuff. But, that might be down the line. I want to have content, I don't want it to be some bullshit. So that would be something I would do down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk? What do you want to talk about military-wise? We've been bullshitting for like a half hour about random stuff.
I don't care, man. Like, what was that? What was that documentary we were watching?
Only the Dead, maybe.
Only the Dead. I've never even heard of that.
No.
That's pretty graphic too.
Yeah, there's like serious dead bodies, and
I'm surprised that So the whole premise of the documentary is it's this Australian journalist.
Let me look.
Yeah, you can look while I'm giving like a synopsis of what I saw. But he's an Australian journalist, and he's traveling around Iraq, and this is back there in like '04 and stuff like that, and beyond. And he's filming not only American troops, but he goes in with a bunch of the insurgents and gets videos of them shooting 120 millimeter mortars and doing some other crazy stuff. I'm surprised I never even heard of it. Is it on Netflix?
It is on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm surprised I never heard of it. Another one I saw on Netflix before, it's not on there anymore, that's really good. It's called Severe Clear. It's about a 0802, so a artillery officer, a forward observer, who was attached to, I think it was LAR. It was either LAR or he was working out of a track. I can't remember now. But it shows them do the push into Iraq. And that's another pretty good documentary, I thought. Once you get past the first 30 minutes where he's going on the Mew and it shows him like, well, look, here's my gas mask, and stupid shit like that. Once you get past all that, it's pretty good. But
I'm pretty sure it's only the dead.
Severe Clear. Only the dead, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He's pretty sure, so.
Yeah, it was pretty graphic, though.
Yeah, no, it was.
I mean, especially at the end,
Wait, where they're showing all the dudes shooting dudes?
Well, like, no, I mean.
That dead body or dying?
That guy dying. I mean, that's
Oh.
like pushing.
I wonder if there's any charges brought up on that.
I don't know, because, I mean, there was like zero.
Yeah, with the whole thing with like Eddie Gallagher and all those guys, like that's a huge thing. The whole war crime thing is like becoming bigger. I mean, I see both sides of the people that are like, they should not be charged with war crime. We sent them to fight a war. But at the same time, like when you're, some shit like that, maybe not like that necessarily, but committing war crimes has become detrimental to the fucking mission.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like the whole Eddie Gallagher thing. I mean, I think.
Oh, turn your mic around.
Turn it around?
Yeah, just twist it, just rotate it.
So you didn't capture any of that?
No, you're all. It's going to be a lot louder now.
Oh.
I'll edit that first half of it to
be louder.
To be a little bit louder. I just now noticed that you had it because you had it right, and then you moved the microphone.
But yeah, like the whole. Well, I mean that dude that made that documentary is actually Australian, so
yeah, it's super weird that he even went out with like the insurgents. It's crazy.
He was there for like 7 years total in Iraq.
Yeah.
So that, I mean,
do you know the name of the guy?
I don't know. Let me look. I know it was. I think it's Only the Dead.
Because there was a guy recently on Joe Rogan, I think.
Yeah, it's Only the Dead is the documentary.
Yeah, there was a guy that was on Joe Rogan recently that was
Michael
over.
Ware.
I think that was over there forever. Michael Ware.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty wild, though.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I guess it gives a good perspective. Like I like how he ended it. It was like, this is where I kind of lost something.
Yeah,
you could tell like he had changed. From the beginning.
You want to explain the clip for?
Yeah. So like, it's actually an army unit that's in a suspected Mujahideen city. It's in 2007, and they see a kid. I think he was probably what would you say, 15, maybe 20. I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably
young,
older.
dude.
He was older than 15.
He might have been 20. I'd say 18 at least. And he ran across with a weapon, and obviously
got
ROE and got smoked.
Don't get got.
He got that special prize at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, but so they, do the checks and all that, get the weapon, and drag him into the compound, obviously, protect themselves. And he's just kind of laying there, and got the death rasp going on, and breathing. And
the dude is filming the whole time. And they're like, "Oh yeah, he's dead." Or like, "Wait, get out of the way so Doc can." No one's giving him treatment. They're like, "Get out of the way so Doc can treat him." And there's like no corpsman. Yeah.
I mean, it's a straight up headshot.
Yeah. There's not really much you could do about it.
I mean,
they could have medevaced him, but
I know we were talking, but like I was paying attention. And he was like, "Yeah, you can see his, his brains and skull."
Yeah. Yeah, that dude was gonna die either way.
By the time they casevaced him, I mean, he would have died on the bird anyways.
Yeah, but they were just like, oh yeah, no, he's dead, but he's like obviously sitting there, breathing, fighting. They're like, no, that's just nerves, and it's like, no, dude, he's like,
laugh, but
I mean, play stupid games, man.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a different. You feel for some, like you said before on the last one, like you feel for some of the Iraqis probably fought just because it's like, oh, this is my country, national pride, Americans shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
but some of them were fucking dickhead, like insurgents.
Well, yeah, like
I don't know what that guy
Zarqawi,
was, but yeah, Zarqawi,
and like those hardcore motherfuckers, like in the documentary, he's actually with like the Muj, like we all called those guys Muj, but I think they were actually nationalists.
Yeah,
at the beginning, and they, like I said on the last one, those you come in my country, I'm gonna fight you, those kind of guys. But then he's like, Zarqawi was doing those the truck bombs that you seen hit that hotel and shit.
Yeah,
just killing civilians, trying to wage as much damage, war, whatever you want to call it. And where was I gonna go?
He's fighting an insurgency there, man.
Yeah, and and it says in that documentary, the guys, the freedom fighters or whatever you want to call them, were scared of Zarqawi because he was so ruthless.
Yeah,
and these guys, I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but what they were trying to do
completely wrong.
I know
they're the beginning of ISIS.
Well, no, Zarqawi.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Zarqawi. Fuck that dude. Like,
yeah,
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the dudes that were like legitly in like 2003. Like right after the invasion, the dudes that were like running around, like had pictures of Saddam and shit. Like,
yeah,
those dudes were like didn't want change.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it, but
Iraqi politics.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fucking know shit. I'm just a fucking factory worker.
Whatever.
No,
man.
I mean, I always try to put, it took me a long time, like I said in the last one, to try to put things into perspective, in my perspective, and that's not no one else's.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always try to. Like
Iraq's a mess, man.
Red Dawn. I mean, that's like
it's different though.
It is.
Red Dawn, yeah, I know what you mean, like defend the country, but at the same time, we weren't actively like, I don't know, man. Saddam was a douche for sure.
He was a fucking douche.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. That's why I said. I mean, you can delete this out because I don't want to piss your viewers off.
But, oh no, I won't delete it. It's fine.
Not viewers, but no. I mean,
I'm sure there's some people that agree. Like the whole Iraq War,
it was just crazy. I mean,
people start to have, when you're fighting
here's a like, I'm sure every Marine at least has seen Generation Kill.
Oh yeah.
And
I never really watched it after I joined. You're like, fuck it, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, but that part when they're, I don't know what, I just watched it not too long ago, and they're on the bridge and they get attacked and they go out there the next day and there's all the dead insurgents, and they're like reading it. He's alive and he's like, the translator pulls out his passport and he's a Syrian, came from Syria to Iraq. And on his passport, the reason for visiting Iraq was jihad.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, those dudes, like, they were just, I mean, that they wanted to...
When you said Generation Kill, I was thinking of what's the other one? Full Metal Jacket.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking of. I actually just watched Generation Kill like a month ago.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this in like 8 years, 9 years. I got the DVD.
Yeah.
I might as well watch it. I bought the box set. I remember when that came out. That was that's a pretty good documentary, or not documentary, a miniseries.
I thought it was pretty, like, I mean, obviously
it's funny.
It's just the way the camaraderie.
It shows the downtime where you're just bullshitting.
Like how those dudes got done in that firefight, and they're all like, "Damn, fuck y'all."
Yeah.
Like, no one got hurt, so it's whatever. It's just a fucking game.
Yeah.
But then it shows. The good thing
you're cool with it when you come out of it unscathed. You're like, fuck yeah, that was crazy.
Then like that shows he makes that movie at the end, the last episode, and it's like recounting all the shit, and they're all like watching it, and then who's the last one? Trombley, fucking
the weirdo,
Whopper Jr. or whatever the fuck they call him.
Yeah,
but like, yeah,
I think the whole point of that is that it was people started questioning, was it like going into it, everyone was pumped. Like, we can't wait till I go to Iraq, fucking kill everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then it was just trying to, seem to me that it was trying to portray the, all the little struggles everyone was having individually with different parts of the war.
Yeah.
Which is, I think,
Normal.
it's super realistic. I mean, people, I don't know, some people join not expecting to deploy, or I never got that. I remember when I was getting ready to deploy with 3-6, there was this kid, and everybody was getting all their bags together. This is like we're getting ready to say goodbye to everybody. And there was like a fire team over to one side with this kid, and they're like, dude, you're fucking going, man. Like, you can't not go, because he's talking about just bouncing, like fucking running, because he didn't want to go to Afghanistan.
UA?
Yeah, like we're literally like probably 20 minutes from getting on the buses. And this kid's over here like, dude, I don't want to go. And it's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen, dude? You joined the infantry. This is an infantryman. This wasn't an admin clerk. Yeah. And I was like, dude, what the and you know what, man? Like, it's just
well,
everybody,
what time frame was this also? I mean, like, would you say
this was in 2011. I was with 3-6.
Like during the surge of
this was 3-6. No, this was after, because 3-6 had done Marja in 2010, which was the push through Marja, and that was
a terrible one. Right?
That was a big one for those guys. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Obviously, it was a legitimate. Hey, bro, you're living out of your pack for a month as you move and fight.
But I mean, it was like, if I remember right, that push through Marja was kind of like Fallujah. That's what they kind
of built it up to be. It wasn't as, I don't think it was nearly anywhere near as intense as that. There was obviously a lot of people, a lot of engagements, a lot of dudes got killed, and stuff like that.
That's where that I always see it seems to come around, like where 3-6 lost X amount of dudes. Like, you always see it, like the pray for me thing on the Facebook.
I think you're thinking about 3-5. They lost 25 guys.
Okay,
and then one deployment in Sangin.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't. Yeah,
this is around the same. This was like the year. Well, it was around the same time frame.
I was gonna say that.
It was a little bit before Sangin. I think Sangin was a little bit before Marja, but
because I know we were kicking ass there for a while.
Marja. I mean, when I went back with 3-6, this was their second time there. Most of the dudes, they were in the clear. A lot of them had stayed on. They went back to the deployment. And it was definitely a lot calmer. Obviously, we were fighting from bases now. Now we're doing presence patrols and, shit like that. You're not clearing villages. Now it's like trying to rebuild.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was still shit going on. Like, I don't know. What a waste of money. We built a internet cafe in the bazaar in Marja. And I think like 2 days after it opened, in the middle of the night, some Taliban dudes came over and blew it up with an RPG. And after like these, like this was like a big thing that look, the Americans brought internet, the internet cafe, and then they blew it up like 2 days later.
Well, I told you, like, when we ransacked Fallujah. Well, I didn't personally, but I was there. They fucking built this soccer field. I mean, they brought like turf and everything.
Who did?
Like the Americans.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's kind of like I don't know what,
Are you talking about on the FOB, or are you talking about in the city?
No, like in the city.
Oh, okay.
And the next day, they went out there and everything was torn down. All the turf was gone. Motherfuckers putting that shit in their backyard.
Yeah, they put up solar-powered street lamps and through the bazaar and stuff like that, and then like kind of out from it a little bit, down the road both ways. And I think within a couple weeks,
they're all gone.
Dudes had taken them down because they had battery. They had a car battery with a solar panel on it that ran the light.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Fuck this! I could use this down in my hut."
Yeah.
So they're pulling that shit down to go run their whatever.
Yeah.
Charge their phones, so they can. It's weird when you're out in a place like that where it's like
third world, man.
Third world, like to the extreme. Like their houses are made of mud. They
like
sleep outside and make bread.
Yeah, that's even crazier than Iraq.
I'm sure Iraq was like that in the country.
Like,
just like the city and like Kabul and stuff is probably, I've always heard, is way more Western.
Yeah, I mean, you always heard that, like on documentaries, they said like before Taliban and.
No, I'm talking about
like
even
right now.
Yeah, because it's more even during the war, it was more Western. Like you'd see people walk around in jeans and shit, like females and stuff like that.
But I mean,
whereas in the country, like. You look at a girl and you're going to get shot.
I mean, it kind of like, I feel like the architecture in Iraq, because that's the only place I ever went, but like it all looks the same. Like the houses are all the same. They all, it's like very.
Yeah.
I mean, in Fallujah, there's obviously nicer places. Like, I don't know. Like,
Were there?
Yeah, man. Like,
see, I always heard Fallujah was like the hood
it was
of Iraq.
Hood, it was, but like it was. There was a couple places we went in and had like marble staircases and shit.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, where you could tell they had a lot of money because, like, I remember I was telling you on the last podcast, on the walls they used broken glass.
To keep it from jumping over.
And, like, this had like wrought iron gates.
Yeah.
You know, like it was.
So you could tell somebody had a little bit more money.
You know, and like there was like a Mercedes and shit in the garage.
Did you guys ever commandeer any vehicles or anything?
No.
Huh. What did it feel like to you to walk through people's houses? That, you know someone lived there. You know someone was raising a family there.
Because I think...
Were there pictures on the walls and stuff?
Yeah. Like I believe it's like PSYOPs. Drops of the leaflets.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like... What would... someone drops a leaflet, you're going to grab whatever the fuck, your clothes and, probably a photo album. I don't know, but...
Yeah, because that one was like, get out or you're going to be...
dead.
Yeah, or you're going to be considered
X
hostile.
amount of days. I'll have to try to find that when you come over and show it to you.
What, you have one of the leaflets?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I got some pretty cool shit I'll show you. But anyways, but yeah, you're walking through someone's house and there's like... I remember one time, like, there's still, like, pots and shit on the stove. Mm-hmm. And it's like, these motherfuckers just like, okay, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm not.
They didn't wait.
I'm not,
Yeah, I always thought it was kind of weird. We would go into some of the Afghan compounds, and, they'd, like, hide the women. Had to put the women all in one room. You could search the entire place, but one room.
All have the burqa?
Yeah. You call them the blue ghost.
Yeah.
You'd see most of them, not most of them. There were some in blue, some in black. Some of them would walk around with their face shown. They'd have like the ones that they could pull across.
Yeah.
So
when they pull it up, like,
and then when they would see a guy, they would cover their face. But we would see them because we could see them from the cameras.
Oh, okay.
You had cameras on base, so you could see over compound walls. You could see people.
From the blimp.
From the blimp or from. We had tower based cameras as well, dude. When I was with 3-6 in 2011, in RCOC where I sat, so what we called it in the command center, it was the power eye, is what you called it. It was just a straight table, and on the far end, you had the watch officer, the watch chief sitting there, and they're the ones that are like, hey, update this. This is where this person is. They're getting information from the watch clerk who's sitting next to them. So down on that far end, you got those two guys, and then along the other side of the table, I was on one side, and I had like 5 computers. I had like a couple regular computers and a couple like secret computers, and then like the AFATIDs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Next to me sat the JTAC, because then I wasn't a JTAC. I was just a fires chief. Next to me sat the JTAC, or the battalion air officer. And then across from us was the intel guys. And then next to them was the clerk that would be actually taking the radio calls or the BFT, the Blue Force Tracker, and like getting pause reps and updating the maps and stuff like that. So, why was I explaining all that? What I was getting at was, and then on the other end, across from the watch chief, so the watch chief and the watch officer are staring at the wall. That wall, ours had like a 70-inch TV in the center, and then like 2 42-inch TVs on each side. Yeah. And then like so the 70-inch TV in the center had a feed, like if we had a Predator on or a Reaper or something like that, one of the UAVs, we would have their feed on that so we could see what was going on. One of the side cameras would have the feed from our blimp, because we had, they call them PGSS. I don't know what it stands for. There's a couple, or Aerostat. There's like 2 versions of it. It's just a big fucking blimp on a string, with a camera on it. And then on the other side, we had the camera, the tower mounted camera for our fob.
Yeah.
But then we also, because we were the battalion command center, dude, technology's crazy. Yeah. We had all the cameras for every patrol base within our AO streaming to us. So not only could we see what's right outside of ours, we could see what's outside of everybody. So when, 3rd platoon at fucking whatever company says, hey, we're taking contact, we can actually look at their camera. If they're taking contact around the base, we can look at their camera and see where it's coming from, and it helps us get better SA or situational awareness and stuff like that, so that we can we call it speeding up the kill chain.
Yeah.
The whole thing is that you're trying to kill the dude or kill the threat, and you want to take every step possible to,
as fast as possible.
And seeing what they're telling you makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because of the ROEs and stuff. Also, it's easier for the battalion commander or the judge, because the judge is the one that comes in and basically makes the decision. He'll tell the battalion commander if it's legal or not. But it makes it easy for him when he can look up and go, okay, I see the guy with PKM running across.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dude. Okay,
boom, boom,
boom, get him. So
how's that? Watching the Reaper feeds and what's the other one you said?
So you have Reaper, you have Predator.
Predator, yeah. So
Predator is like the original. Predator is like the OG. Remember that movie they made 10 years ago? That the bad thing in it was ended up being a Predator drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Predator is a system, is an aircraft that can, it can hold a Hellfire missile, and it can also hold a camera and I think other sensors and stuff like that. That's more on the intel side. I don't really know fully everything that it can do. And I'm definitely not going to talk about what I do know on here about it, but it can do other stuff.
Yeah.
But that was the original. The Reaper is a bigger one. The Reaper can hold, and I'm going to mess this up and get harassed about it, but the Reaper can hold a couple actual 500-pound bombs and Hellfires. So this thing's loaded out. It'll have a 500-pound bomb on each wing, and then a rack with 2 Hellfires or something like that. And it also has,
so it's got a lot of whoop ass.
Yeah. And then the cameras are great. And
sure.
And then, but watching the feeds, man, it's just hours and hours hours of watching it.
Well, if you want to talk about it, but to the point where you're taking contact, say you're taking contact from a fob.
Yeah.
And they call it in to the COC.
Oh, and just kind of watching everything.
And, to see, how effective.
It's weird. It's definitely, so the first time I did a strike in Afghanistan, I think we'd been there for a couple weeks, and this is with 3-6. And I was bummed. I was like, fuck, man, they're sending me to 3-6 as the fires chief. And I was a lat mover. So I'm like, I'm going to miss out on the cool part about being a forward observer and getting attached to a platoon, going on patrols every day. So instead, they're like, hey, you're going to work in the COC as the fires chief because you know what the hell you're doing. You're a sergeant and blah, blah, blah. But at that time, they were making most sergeants at lat moved go and be a forward observer first and then come back. Normally with the TACP school, but if you didn't, then you were a fires chief. But like I said, they thought I did all right, so they made me the fires chief. And I was like, damn, this sucks. I didn't want to do this, but it is what it is. But I remember being in the COC, and we'd been there for a month, and this is at FOB Marja. And not a lot had happened for the fires section yet. I think we had gotten one control. I think my air officer had gotten a bomb off on. We had a patrol moving towards a compound. So we had a patrol moving towards a compound, and then I don't remember if someone shot from the compound or something. There was a reason they were moving towards this compound. And as the patrol got to it and started to go into the compound itself, an IED went off. And it injured the linguist, the translator we had, and it also, I want to say it injured a Marine, but not too bad. I think the linguist took the brunt of it. Well, we're watching this patrol, and we watch these dudes run out the back of the compound. Mm-hmm. So we have a Predator or some shit on, and we watch these dudes run out the back of the compound, and we're tracking them. We're watching them, and while this is happening, okay, so this is the whole targeting process. This is why when you hear people are like, oh, we're just slinging Hellfires at everything, and we're just killing civilians everywhere and stuff like that, you're like, dude, it's sometimes it's quick, the process is quick, but there's a process, and it you can't not do the process. You know what I'm saying? They make you, the ROEs require that you have to do certain things in it to verify and all this stuff. Yeah. So while we're watching these dudes run out, we're like, those are the dudes, obviously. We're tracking them. At the same time, my air officer's on the radio, like, hey, I need, or he might be on the, I think he was on his laptop, chatting with the air command guys or whatever. And like, hey, the higher ups, air command. People are gonna make fun of me for saying that. The higher ups, the requesting aircraft. He's dropping a prize, what we call it, dropping a priority request. And so these dudes are moving. We're watching them with the Predator. I don't know. It may not have been armed. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That one may have, may not have been armed. I don't know. But we're watching these dudes, and he's requesting air. At the same time, I'm over here. My job as the fire chief is I have a targeting program where I look at map data and stuff like that, and I just verify that the grid that we're using, the location, is super accurate. And that's, that's all I'll talk about that. We just get a really accurate grid, so that's the exact spot that you want it to hit. And so these dudes, we're watching these dudes. They run into a field, and there's nothing in the field but this like L-shaped wall. And they get to this corner of the field, and they just start digging. You just see them both digging. And we're like, maybe it was only one guy. I can't remember if it was one or two. But I just remember they were digging. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, okay, we got a Harrier come on. I think it was a Harrier. Checked on. Hey, Judge, this is what happened. Hey, EXO, or the OPSO. I think the 3.6's OPSO did almost every approval during that deployment. So we're like, hey, OPSO, this is the situation. The arrow goes, hey, we got this guy. I've got this aircraft. I'm going to drop this bomb. Sergeant Kramer. And then I'm like, all right, here's the location. I show him on my map. I show him the ring that shows the effects of the ordnance. Like, okay, look, this is what it's going to impact. So we're not going to hit any compounds. We're not going to hit any whatever.
Yeah.
And then he looks at that. Yeah. And he looks at that and he goes, okay. And he's looking at the feed and he looked at everything, all the information we provided him. And then the judge is, he's a lawyer. He's a JAG, the Judge Advocate General. So if you've seen, what's
NCIS.
not NCIS. What's that? You can't handle the truth. Like one of those lawyers. Like, yeah, he was like one of those, but a Marine lawyer. He's there to be like, hey, it's legal. So they take all that in. He looks at the judge. Judge goes, hey, it looks legal to me. Everything looks good, meets the ROEs. And then they approve it. Drop a bomb. So they drop a 500-pounder. Boom. Good impacts. Dudes are, splash. We got good impacts. And so at the time, because there was an issue, and I'll get into, you'll understand here in a second. At the time, there was a requirement that if you dropped, you had to maintain, if possible, constant surveillance of the impact area until ground troops could come in or for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And so we did that. So we're maintaining sensors on that area. We had the Harrier there, and we still had a UAV, I believe. And we're watching, and we're radioing the patrol. Now, they've done their medevac. At the same time, we're working a medevac, obviously, as well.
Yeah. So
now we radio the patrol, and they're going to start moving over that way to do the BDA. And while we're waiting on the patrol to move that way, these two dudes or a couple dudes roll up, and they take the bodies, and we watch them roll them up in rugs, and they walk them over to a tree line that's like a couple 100 yards away, and they throw them in the tree line. And then at that same time, the patrol is showing up, and then they're like, hey, someone dropped a bomb and they hurt this girl. And then suddenly they had a little girl that had injuries. Like nothing like her, wasn't like her arm was blown off or anything like that, but she did have injuries. And we're like, we don't know this in the COC. We just know they're like, hey, they're saying that a civilian was saying. We're like, no, there's no civilians there. We've been watching it the whole time. The two bodies are here. We gave them a grid and they walked over to it and they, pulled them out of the tree line. Yeah. And dude, I don't know where they brought that little girl from. But there was an investigation because that little girl, this was my captain, my air officer, his first drop, and they're like, oh, there has to be an investigation because there's a civilian casualty. And some Air Force colonel got flown out there and watched the video. And as soon as he saw the video, he was like, no, it looks good to me. Like, but that's kind of that's the whole process.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just crazy though, because that's why we have to maintain that constant surveillance because they'll do some shit like that. We're like this girl, like we don't even know where we saw them come up with her though. We saw them come up and with this person, So,
but I think, as a civilian, you watch the PBS documentaries of Vietnam and people see them carpet bombing. I think a lot of people really think that's the way it is. And
no, some places get fucked up, like just like Fallujah got fucked up. Sangin was getting blown up pretty good. Like if you were going through a village and there were houses that were destroyed, they were destroyed because we destroyed them, not because of anything else that happened. And there's a lot of destroyed houses.
I know, but I think that's
it's not as indiscriminate as you would think. You're right. It's not like the Vietnam carpet bombing videos.
You're not dropping.
We're using precision guided ordnance for the most part. for the most part. Obviously, aircraft still have guns.
How would have you felt been that dude that dropped that Moab?
Oh yeah, that would have been cool. Everybody in the JTAC community was like, dude. Dude.
I mean, yeah, I thought of it. Obviously, you're the only person I know that's a JTAC.
Yeah, the mother of all bombs or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a 10,000 pound freaking. I think it's our biggest bomb except for nuclear weapon. Yeah. Our biggest non-nuclear weapon. They dropped on some ISIS camp. I think it killed like 100 and something people.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild, man. But yeah, that's the whole process, and like seeing it on TV is kind of like how it feels, because you're watching it happen.
Yeah,
and it's I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like you're glad it happened. Sometimes you hear it too. You'll hear the like when our rounds will hit if it's a close one. Like I had my last HIMARS control I did with 3.6 or call for fire I did with 3.6 was pretty close to the camp. And you could hear it. You heard it go boom, boom, like because I shot 2 of them. Yeah, it's cool.
But like, say like rotary, because I remember in Fallujah, like
what about it?
Like calling it in, like in like a city.
So
I know you got grids and all that.
So the way it works for like a city, obviously that makes it way harder, and then you have to even worry. You have to worry more about collateral damage.
But like say Fallujah,
okay,
there was no ROE. I mean, it was
that's easy. It's not easy, but it's not.
But like say, so you're coming in, so you call it grid square. Would you like pop smoke?
It depends. So there's a couple of situations you could have. So if you have an aircraft coming in. First, you're going to give them a grid. You're not going to give them your grid. You're going to give them a target grid.
Yeah.
Like you want to give them something to look at. So the first thing you're going to do is be like, you're going to take their check-in, or you're going to give them, 12-step process here. So you're going to give them routing safety of flight, which means you're going to tell them, they're going to call your call sign. So I was Siege 22. So it'd be like Siege 22, this is, so-and-so. And I'd be like, all right, copy so-and-so. You're going to move to this airspace. I'll tell them, hey, move here. You're going to fly at this altitude. And then you're going to maintain, this area. That way, what I can do is put them in a box. Like for rotary wing, it looks like a square, basically. Put them in a box. I can keep them inside that little box flying around, and I know how high they're flying. That way, I can shoot artillery over them if I need to, or I can shoot around them. And I know they're staying in this box. That way, I know I can shoot without having to worry about accidentally shooting my own dudes down.
Yeah.
And then once you get them established there, or maybe as they're moving there, they know where they're going now. Now you've routed them. Then you're going to give them some information. You can start giving them stuff to look at. Hey, I want you to, stare grid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they'll look at that grid. And a 6-digit grid is within 100 meters. So that, and the sensors aren't perfect. They're pretty good, but they're not perfect. So that'll get them in the general area. And with a urban area and with a helicopter, because that low. It's easier with fixed wing because they're looking from straight down. They can look straight down at the city. Where air helicopter, they're kind of looking across like you are if you're standing on a tall building.
Yeah. You
have to start using visual cues. So you have a map with a GRG is what we call it, a grid. I think it's like grid reference, or I don't remember what it's called. Grid. I don't remember.
Basically,
grid reference graphic or some shit like that. But it's like a map but blown up, and it's a satellite image. And every compound you have. Like, let's say this neighborhood is this sector. So now it's sector Bravo 2, and then every compound in Bravo 2 has a number. So I'll be like, hey, man, stare Bravo 2, compound 12. And they'll pull out their map, because they also have one.
Yeah.
And they'll look at it, and they'll go Bravo 2, compound 12. And they'll look, and they'll compare what they're seeing with their satellite image. And they're like, all right, that's Bravo 2, compound 12. And then normally, unless it's like a high stake, and even then, normally you should also, then you try to verify some other way. Hey, confirm Bravo 12, compound 2 is south of an L-shaped building. Hey, contact L-shaped building. Yes, Bravo 2 is south of the, and that's how you confirm. You're like, that's the right building.
Okay.
Yeah. And then same kind of thing for fixed wing aircraft. It's just a back and forth, man. And that's the problem a lot of guys have that go to TCP school and stuff is they can't, it's hard for someone, well, if you've never done it, you don't have the experience behind it. It's hard to just, you just tell people like, tell them what you see, man. But I don't know, some people just don't get it. Like I used when I was in TCP school for my talk on test, we pull up in the van, and I was at EWTG LANT, and we pull up in a van. We're all in a van. We have like a radio and a little shitty map with like a GRG map, but it's got like cloud cover on the map and shit. Like they took the image through clouds. And you're just talking to another instructor in like a car, on another radio somewhere on the base.
Yeah.
And we jump out and we're in like by the water on the base. And the instructor's like, Kramer, you're up first. Your aircraft's checking in 10 minutes. This is what you have. There's your target. It's this building. You have a sniper shooting through those slats in the, the attic or whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. Copy that. And I like take a knee to start doing like getting my map stuff and getting my radio ready. And the wind blows and my map flies off and goes into the water. And, we're standing on like a pier. So I can't just reach down and get it. So I just lost my map. The instructor's like, oh, that sucks. What do you do now? And I'm like, I just keep going, man. And so, use your vector dagger. It's a laser rangefinder connected to a GPS, and it'll give you an actual grid, a location on it. So I used that to get the aircraft in the general location. And I was having problems getting him on the correct building. And then I saw like a UPS truck heading down the road that was going to pass it. And I was like, hey, call contact on the, the box truck moving to the south. Contact. And I'll be like, all right, I'm going to tell you when it crosses by your target. And then doom, mark. Confirm what's just to the north. What's the building shape to the north? And they'll give you that. And then you do another confirmation just to make sure. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah. So. It's a process, man. And every place you go is different. That's why it's always good for forward observers and JTACs and stuff to not only practice at the OP and stuff like that, but, get outside and in an urban area and just sit down and go, okay, how would I talk someone on? Because a lot of the JTAC work in Afghanistan was from the COC, was from the command center. Because when you're in the COC, you can control the airspace for the entire company. Because the company has three, they have, they're 3 platoons and stuff like that. Yeah. Or whatever. And you can't go on. So if you go on patrol with one, you can't cover the airspace for the other guys because you won't have as good situational awareness. So they usually keep the JTACs in the COC because they have better situational awareness. So that's not going to be the reality in a near peer fight. You're not going to be fighting from the fob. You're going to be out moving. Yeah. It'll be more like Marja. It'll be more like Marja where you're clearing through an area. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, man. Until you're on the ground and you're talking through the compounds. I took my air officer when I was in Sangin. I had 3-4 there. The air officer's name was Taco. He was a Harrier pilot. That was his call sign. And he wanted to come out on a patrol one time with me because I did all my work from the ground. Yeah. Because I was on an advisor team. The battalion JTACs were sitting in the COC. So they got to sit there and control from there. And then shout out to Barney. Shout out to Stork. Those dudes out there, I'll call on them. So they were working from the COC, and I was on the ground. And Taco was like, hey, I want to come out sometime. And I remember him coming out on a convoy or something. We were moving north. I can't remember what we were doing. And he's just like, how the fuck do you, make sense of all this? Because you're just driving by mud compounds, dude. Yeah. It's just mud buildings, and it's just, you just got to keep your wits about you. I got turned around. I told Neff, we took some shots from the west. No, we took some shots from the east. And I remember telling the aircraft, no, we're taking contact from the west, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, confirm the west. And I'm like, yeah, it's to the west, da, 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 da. And then it took me a few seconds to realize I was turned around. And I'm like, no, correction, fuck, to the east, Yeah. It happens. Nobody's perfect. Yeah. And that's why sometimes you get CivCas, which is unfortunate. Civilian casualties. So, and there's always an investigation, and there's civilian casualties. And if it's something you did wrong, then you're going to get, something's going to happen.
See, I don't see, because I was there 04, 05, 05, 06.
Old school GWAT.
And I don't remember that. Of course, the first time was in Fallujah. There was pretty much no ROE. Everybody's declared hot. Of course, there was an ROE once we started letting them back in the city. Mm-hmm. And, you had to have positive ID, but it was like a weapon and shit. I think that's kind of standard.
Yeah.
And
you have to have a weapon and show some kind of intent.
No, it was, they had a weapon. That was not allowed.
Yeah, okay.
And then the second time, of course, that's when I actually was motor T. And, I remember it was, if you're on the front or rear gun track, they were supposed to pull over to the sides. If they didn't pull over, you would fucking hit them with a white star. You'd aim for the windshield, and then you would.
Did you guys have the flags? The red and green flags where you could wave them at them.
No.
They started using flags because of I guess they figured out that people, even Iraqis, don't understand what a White Star cluster coming out their windshield means.
And then it was tracer rounds, because if you rode in the turret, you had a magazine full. It was just all tracers.
Okay.
Do the shoot at the ground, and then it was the engine block, and then then you were on. By the time, if they didn't stop when you shot the M16 at the ground, you went straight to whatever weapon system you're on.
Yeah, to the windshield.
I mean, you're not going to shoot a Mark 19, but they were always 50s or 240s on the
front and back,
front and rear.
I was just telling Chad the other day, like, the 50 is awesome to shoot, but the 240 is the more practical weapon.
That's my favorite weapon.
Like, I love shooting the 50, but the 240 shoot is like, it's fun to shoot.
Oh yeah,
and it's just more practical because you don't have to worry about punching through like 3 buildings.
Yeah,
if you miss your target or whatever.
Well, I remember, I don't know if I told that story, but like when we were letting them in the city, they'd only let you out. You could only come in and out one time a day. So it was like, I think in the morning they could go out and like go to the farms or whatever around Fallujah, and then at night you could only come in. So we're sitting there and we're doing the bat system, and it was as funny as my unit actually came and delivered like chow and shit to our fob.
Okay.
And so it's a bunch of dudes I know, and so we're all out there bullshitting, and we had it was a 240. We were with 3-1 at the time, and they were cars come down, so they do the whole thing. White Star, this White Star, the dude was perfect. Fucking bounces off the windshield. This guy just keeps coming. They do the whole ROE, shoot the ground, and all of a sudden, like all these dudes are on the gun trucks. They're staged right next to the side of the road.
Yeah.
And this car's coming, and they're like, they start shooting it. Well, all the dudes on the guns, where there was all 50 cals.
Oh, shit.
And they're like, so they all spin around and just fucking light this car.
Just a whole line of 50 cals taking out this car?
The gun in the checkpoint was a 240. But 450 cals. And they just destroyed this car, And, obviously, what then happened.
What do you do after that?
So, like, that's the thing. Like, there was no investigation because everything was followed. Like, I'm sure the lieutenant or whoever, was like, yeah.
There's an incident report, obviously.
But
how do you know if it's a civilian, though? Like, do you go, obviously they go and check their papers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and in this case, it ended up being, like, 2 dudes. Like, they weren't bad dudes, but they were just civilians.
Oh, they're 2 civilians?
And, I believe they give them some money or some shit.
The family.
To the family. But, to me, like...
What do you do with the car, though? Is it just lay there in the street?
Yeah, I'll tell I got pictures of the car.
Yeah.
I don't have no pictures of that other shit, but... Yeah, it was fucking crazy, dude. Like, it was just like a split second wrong, like they're like, I'm going to drive the fuck out. But what would you do if someone shot a White Star cluster at your windshield? You're going to fucking stop. Like,
I don't know. But you're looking at it from a military mindset. You know what a White Star cluster is.
But I think even at this point, like when we were doing the bat system, I believe that we were telling them like
the rules. Like,
there's like I think I have pictures of, like there was like a fucking letter like on the door. Of course, I don't know if everybody can read. I'm assuming not.
Yeah, in
Iraq.
But you would think that it would get around though.
Yeah, but that was the only time that ever happened. So maybe they learned.
Well, we had I think I talked about it in the last podcast. We had a guy when I was with 3-6 who, one of the designated marksmen saw a guy that he thought was putting in an IED, shot him and killed him. Ended up being a farmer working next to the road. And the rules in Marge at the time were that if you're going to farm at night, you had to have a lantern. And he didn't have a lantern. So it sucks, man. You're like, they're real people.
Yeah,
that's like the fucked up part is it's like, and no one's like excited. It's not like people are like, fuck yeah, fuck him. Like he's dead.
Nah. Because you're talking like those were the hardcore dudes too. They just cleared that city and that no one was like that.
Did you interact with any Iraqis? Like, how often did you interact with them?
Like all the time.
So
all day.
What was their attitude towards you?
Man, they were fucking like rowdy.
Were there nice ones? Were they all shitty? There were
I think he actually became a linguist.
Yeah.
Like he came through and like he spoke like perfect English, and he actually went to college somewhere on the East Coast.
Oh, really?
And like, our linguist was Hercules. That's what his name was. He's the biggest Iraqi dude I ever seen, like muscle wise. And he ended up actually getting killed out in the city. But every day, man, like we would work with him, and of course, how do you vet those people? I mean, you're trying to control a population of people that's pissed off. They're coming back. Their fucking houses are destroyed.
Shit's blown up.
Yeah, there's brass there. I mean, the whole fucking town. I mean, if you've ever seen pictures of Fallujah, it's fucked up. I mean, I don't think there was one building without a bullet hole. Maybe even the mosque.
Yeah.
Was fucked up.
And they started getting a little heavy-handed on breaching the second half, once they started losing a bunch of dudes too.
So it was tank or up armored D9s was popular. But so we had concertina wire, like in a serpentine.
Yeah.
And then concertina wire around. So they'd come in I think we could have like 4 or 5 in there at a time. And they get unruly, man, because they want fucking water. They want to get paid. They want all this shit. And we had a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he had a pump action shotgun. Dude, you go out there with your M16 and like, hey, you need to fucking calm down or whatever. Those dudes, they didn't give a fuck, man.
Mm-hmm.
That he would go out there with that shotgun and rack it, dude, they fucking...
Everybody's cool.
Everybody's
We're cool, man.
Yeah.
I always heard shotguns and pistols.
Yeah.
Pistols were big because that's what everybody would get shot with, like if they pissed off the bath party and stuff. That's like what all the...
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that people would be like, "Ooh, shit."
But yeah, the shotgun really calmed him down. But I mean, like you feel for these people because, in a way, I mean, because not all these people are fucking bad. I mean, they live there. It's not their fault. It'd be like saying someone that lives in the projects, it's their fault. No, dude.
That the gangs are out there fighting.
I mean, where you're born and raised is not where But yeah, I mean, like the kids and shit were cool. Like they'd come in like I think we had humanitarian rations for a while, like when we first started letting them in, because they obviously didn't have, a lot of the places didn't have power, and but like I told you in the last one, they just went over there and strung some speaker wire up to the fucking to the transformer and ran power back to their house.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of... all these countries I go to have electricity problems.
I've never seen anything so...
That's part of the thing in Helmand Province is that we were trying to secure Route 611, which goes through it and goes up to the Kajaki Dam, which is a dam we built in like the 50s or something for them. But it needs one of the turbines to produce electricity. Mm-hmm. But the Taliban were just they didn't want it to happen. Yeah, which is like crazy. You're like, you don't want electricity, like you don't want. I don't get it. Like you don't want consistent electricity because they have brownouts all the time. Yeah. A lot of them have generators because of that, or if they don't, they just at night, dude. It's dark. Yeah. In Afghanistan, it is dark. Like you see the stars at night.
Yeah,
because
like
and when
stars.
And when you're flying over at night, it's weird because you just see campfire. It looks like campfires, but it's like cooking fires and stuff. And when you see people through like ISR, through like the the Reaper feed or the Predator feed, you see families, their whole families just sleeping outside. They have like a little platform or whatever. They just throw their sheets or blankets down on and they all sleep on that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you can smell it, like the smell of everything just kind of burning. Wood fires, people cooking, people just burning trash.
I think that was the biggest. Like when my first impression, I was like, coming from Indiana or the United States, the trash just wherever. It's like, and there's some like good spots, especially up by like Haditha Dam. I know you never got to go there. You know, around the Euphrates is actually really beautiful, like where the water is, and then it's just like trash.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that or it was. When you see that for the first time, you're like, damn.
Other countries don't worry about trash as much as we do.
No.
I think the worst I've ever seen is when I went to Malaysia. And you just saw, like we went down to check out a beach. We were going to do an amphibious landing on this beach and do like a whole exercise with the Malaysian military. and a couple of us got sent there as advance party to go scope everything out. And there's just trash everywhere on this beach. And the army dudes are like, hey, we're going to clean all this up before you guys get here. And they do. They were like, we were like, we clean all this trash, all this plastic bottles and all this shit off the beach every month. Once a month, they clean it all up and it just floats over from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Because the Philippines are just dumping so much fucking plastic. They said it just floats over and it just destroys their beaches. Another one was weird was in Hong Kong. Our ship was pulled into the harbor, and it's so big it can't pull up to like a pier or something. So we were in the harbor, and you have to we called them Liberty boats. They have a little, these little fucking boats that would come out and pick up like a group of people and take them and drop them off in the city. But you just see trash floating everywhere, man. Yeah. And all these boats are out there, all these big ass like barges and shit are out there just chilling, and you're like, man, I bet all these things are leaking oil and everything else out of this bay. It's just gross. Like in Asia is gross. The only place I've been that wasn't gross like that was Singapore. Singapore will cane you if you throw trash down. Like you can't have food and drinks on the train, on the metro. You're not allowed to chew gum. You know, they told us you're not allowed to dip while you're in Singapore unless you're in your hotel room, shit like that, because they will publicly cane you.
Really?
It's super clean. People are like, "Oh, I wish America could be like this." I'm like, "There's no way we could be this clean. You literally have to threaten people with beating them with a stick in public."
Yeah,
you know?
I think we could, but
do you want that much, government?
No, I don't want
oversight.
I don't want government oversight. You already know my position on that. But I mean, like I read something. And of course, I didn't fact check. It was on Facebook, but there's like 3 rivers in 8, like one in China, one in India, and one in another Asian country that dump the most plastic in the oceans.
Yep.
And it's like, Starbucks, they took away straws and all this stuff, and which is, I'm not saying it doesn't matter to me. A straw,
well, when you think about, straws are stupid because, it might be a little bit that helps, but does it though? Because when you look at how much is taking away straws going to affect something when you look at corporations that are producing like the major amount, like what you do as an individual, if you don't use a straw for the rest of your life, how many straws is that?
Yeah.
Like 100?
Yeah.
200? I don't know.
Probably more than that, but
yeah,
but it's not that much.
And how much is that in plastic? Not very much. Yeah. But when you look at corporations, dude, it's so stupid, man. In California now, you have to bring your own grocery bags, or you can still use plastic bags, but you have to pay 10 cents each. So everyone just pays 10 cents. There's people that bring their own grocery bags, stuff like that. I have one. I always forget it. And I'm like, fuck. So
it's just one of those things. You like run in.
Well, the other thing is though, is that it's a whole scam, man. The plastic bags though are 3 times as thick because there's like, hey, you get them for 10 cents each. They're reusable bags. Bring these back and use them again. But no one does. And you'll even ask the baggers. They're like, no one brings their own bag. Like very few people bring their own bag. So now, one, you're being charged 10 cents extra per bag that you bag up because, there's a fee. And 2, you're putting more plastic out there because these bags are like 3 times as thick. Like they're super thick, hefty bags. And like if you read anything, it shows like the recycling isn't going to recycling. Like most of it's going into the landfill anyway.
Yeah.
Especially now because China's like, fuck you, America, we're not taking any more of your trash. Because that's what we do is we sell our trash to other countries.
Yeah. Which we were talking about at work one day. We were talking about like, I think there's a place in like Denmark that they came out with an incinerator that produces electricity. Like it's on a small scale.
Well, it'd be just like coal.
Yeah, but you'd have to run it through like a scrubber system to like pull the contaminants out so you could actually, like at work, that's what we, like all our stacks, everybody's like, oh, they're terrible. That's all water droplets.
I would say that's what I thought was water vapor coming out of that stinky ass water.
It's not stinky. It's just water.
Oh, you work at, I'm thinking of the other one.
Yeah. But yeah, so
factories
like,
here in Lafayette, Indiana.
It's that's the shit that will change the world. Like once we figure that out, and I'm pretty sure there's someone's figured that out. Like to where you can incinerate, and like I think with hemp, like I know there's a plastic. I think my father-in-law actually shared it. Like they made like a plastic out of hemp that's totally biodegradable.
Yeah.
Which
cool.
Again, I think that's cool. That's the shit that'll change the world. Maybe.
Yeah, it'll slow shit down. Nothing's gonna change it.
But I mean,
we're gonna hit a point. We're gonna hit a point where the Earth can no longer, they can't support a population size that we have, and we're gonna have a big die off. That's what's gonna change the world. Is when we have a big die off, and it's gonna become we're out producing. We're producing faster than our resources.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of open country out there in the U.S. and other countries, but I don't know, like when you can't produce enough food for everybody.
Yeah, I did. I think it was on Joe Rogan's podcast that said that we have like 60 years left on our
of the food. Oh, of farming.
Farming.
Yeah, there was a guy on there talking about that. He was talking about what do you call it? Regenerative farming or something like that.
Yeah, where you like move your animals to that field.
They do that here. I've seen that out here where you drive around and in the wintertime or in the fall when they take the corn down, you go by and there's a herd of cows out there.
Yeah, but to get on the large scale, you're talking, dude, 60 years is not that long, man.
Yeah, and that's if he's right.
Yeah, I'm not.
My thing is how much food are we producing? How much can we just stop producing? Because a lot of our food is exported.
Yeah.
So
I never thought about it like that.
At some point we can just be like, you know what, fuck everybody else. Like, this is only our wheat now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I know it's not that easy. Trade is like a big, obviously and that would obviously other countries have something on us. Like we need other shit too. But we do produce way more food than we need. And I think the biggest thing that for food wise that people should do is start like get away from some of the stigmas of some food's bad, like I'm going to throw it away. Like, oh, this banana's got a bruise on the side of it. Well, I'm going to throw it away and eat a different banana. Like, eat the bruise. What are you talking about? Like,
yeah, it's fine.
Unless it's some, like, gooey-ass, nasty shit. You scoop that piece off and you can eat the rest. All I'm saying is you can eat the rest of it.
Yeah.
But most people are going to be like, nope, and toss it.
Yeah.
Because
we have too much.
Yeah, we're living a fat lifestyle. We're living good, man. America's...
Dude, we live great.
Americans are living great, and that's why everyone's so pissed off at everything, because they can be, because they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, if you were hungry every day,
like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, or maybe I don't know if we started recording by then, but 90 years ago, people were, fuck, I need to get coal so I can heat my house tonight and cook my food. Yeah. We were living almost like Afghans are now.
Yeah,
and it's just we've got it so good. People. Oh, I'll just go to the grocery store and get my food.
Yeah.
Until there's not any food there.
That's...
People from Indiana get it. And I think people from Indiana, people in the Midwest and stuff they live a harder lifestyle because you deal with winters, like super harsh winters, tornadoes, like all this shit, and you have more people that go out and hunt. You have people that are farmers and they understand how to sustain life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're producers. And then you have all the consumers that live everywhere else in all the major cities along the coastlines and stuff like that. Those are all the consumers, and they need producers.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that are going to fucking... That's what I think about it all the time. I'm like, I'm in San Diego, and I'm like, if something really bad happened, how many people in this city are going to be dead quickly?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially if, like, that's what they always said, like the semis back in the... Teamsters, back in
like if they stopped running the semis.
Yeah, they stopped running the semis. What would happen?
Yeah,
people don't know how to live, and
because they bring all the produce.
Yeah, the produce, and you think about it, like how much food do you keep at your house on a daily basis?
Well, it's just me, so not much.
I go to Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Yeah.
No, man, I live in San Diego. That's blasphemy. I go to a fucking Mexican stand right down the street.
Yeah, true. True, you get the good stuff. But no, I think, you're right. I don't know if we necessarily live a hard life, but I get what you're saying. Like people in Chi-Town or Chicago, they don't, they go to the bodega or wherever,
Yeah. They go to the grocery store.
And we,
And I'm speaking in generalities, I'm not,
yeah.
Not everybody has a hard life or easy life,
No, shit, dude.
Plenty of people have a hard...
There's a lot of people that have hard in Chicago.
And some people have a hard life, and they use hunting and stuff like that to help sustain them even better. Because it's, what do you pay for? You pay for your hunting license, you pay for your weapon.
So once you buy the weapon, and you have it, as long as you take good care of it,
yeah.
I think it's like $30 a year.
Is that what it costs to dear hunt? I haven't been deer hunting in a long. Did you go deer hunting this year?
No. I haven't been in a couple of years.
Yeah? Any kind of hunting?
No. Actually, no. I was telling you I want to go coyote hunting again.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when I was talking about that earlier, so I got the two. So for the listeners, I got two 270 rifles. So both of them are bolt action. One's a Ruger and one's a Mossberg 270. And I was saying earlier, like, I want to take them and go coyote hunting, and they're not really built for that because they're bolt action. That's the point. Not the caliber. The caliber will knock down an elk.
Yeah.
But the action, like, sometimes you got to hit a coyote more than once because they're running.
Yeah.
You know, so.
You got to get them to stop.
Yeah. So and I think it'll be a good gun for Kale to learn on. Do you, would you use an AR platform?
I actually, I want to get a Savage Predator 110. 22-250.
Really? A 22, huh? I've met guys what's a 22-250 is a longer cartridge, right?
Yeah, it's more subsonic. Like it's
supersonic.
This one comes already. It comes already threaded for suppressor.
Oh, okay.
So I want because that like around here, like you're out there, like the coyotes are actually. I don't know, actually San Diego. They might
there are
like that. That's like good, like. People like go pay money to go coyote hunt out west because like the pelts are actually like worth something.
Oh no, are
they like small like here?
No, they're small, but in they're only worth a couple bucks. You can trade them for a couple bucks each. But the problem with San Diego and the areas around there is that it's so warm all the time. There's really no real winter. They're covered in fleas.
Yeah.
So when you take one, you're probably going to get an infestation of fleas on yourself. So it's like most dudes don't keep the pelts because it's not worth it.
I know, like...
Though, in the wintertime, they're outside. Fleas aren't living on those things.
But, like, here recently, like, even in, like, on our neighborhood, there was, like, a fox running around with mange. And so bad, like, luckily we finished our yard in this year because, like, a neighbor's dog the fox must have rolled around in their yard.
Oh, really?
And then their dog went out there and rolled around where the fox did and ended up getting mange. So,
is that an actual disease? That's the name of the disease?
It's like a parasite.
I've heard. I'm just like, it's mangy. Like it's like you can see the furs falling out of it and shit.
But it's actual like parasite.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
yeah. So in California, coyotes, you can hunt coyotes year round with only a hunting license. You can get a hunting license and then hunt year round. There's no limit. And you don't have to retrieve them.
So you can just basically, they're nuisance animals, so you just drop them.
Yeah. And most dudes go out to the desert or like, you're not in a residential neighborhood, but you hear them.
Yeah.
Because, unlike Indiana where it's flat, it's cornfields and stuff, there's terrain and there's like, you have fingers coming out that houses are built along. And then down in the little valleys and stuff like that, you'll hear them at night.
Yeah.
Packs of them just.
Actually, coyotes are weird though.
They are.
Because one or two coyotes can make it sound like there's like a whole 10.
Yeah, the way they yip.
Yeah.
No, they're pretty. They're a nuisance. They're not big, but they're a nuisance in California. Like they kill a lot of house pets.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of.
Which that's kind of on the owner as well. Yeah,
that's what they do.
Circle of life, bro.
Yeah,
I say that until my
Lacey.
Yeah.
That's why Dad, like, if you look out here, he built that. It's like a 4-foot high actual privacy fence around her area.
Oh, really? To keep the coyotes out?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, they're on base at Camp Pendleton. I was talking to a guy like a month ago or something. He was saying that they're talking about letting experienced bow hunters come down because there's a DNR officer that works on the base that like does the tags and stuff like that for the hunting areas on base. Talking about him having a bow test, coming out and have you shoot some targets to see how accurate you are, and if you like passed or whatever qualification, then giving you special permits to hunt around the residential areas with a bow only to take out some of the coyotes in the residential areas because there's so many on base.
Yeah.
It's just there's packs of them, man. You hear them at night just yelping, yipping and stuff. I was at Chad's house yesterday and heard them out there.
Yeah,
they were pretty. I didn't realize there was as many out here as there are.
Yeah, there's. I mean, of course, like out west, you watch all those videos. Those dudes out west, like they're, set up in some draw somewhere and shooting fucking 1,000 meters.
Yeah,
but I mean that's
you can do that. You can get elevation.
Yeah. And you
can
get up on shoot 1,000 meters and not no one will be around. I mean, out here, if you shoot it, it's going through 3 farmers' houses. And
yeah, that's definitely... Yeah, when I get back from this trip, I'm going to take my kid out to BLM land, the Bureau of Land Management land and go set up a range for him and I to go out and shoot the rifles that we're picking up.
That'd be a good rifle.
Yeah.
For him to try, to learn on.
Yeah. I have a Mosin also. Not for, and I'm not saying that to go hunting, but I was like, at some point he's probably going to want to shoot this, but man, this thing
it kicks like a fucking mule.
Dude, 7.62 by 54, and it's an old one. It's like it's from the 50s.
So it's got the
metal
steel,
butt plate. Yeah, it's got the metal butt plate on it. So when you shoot it, dude, it makes your shoulder, you feel it for sure.
So my buddy at work, he was telling me there's a place in Alabama that you can go down and buy M1 Grands for like $700.
Really?
Some surplus place. They're not like I think what it is like, of course the military just ships all that shit somewhere and someone buys it all, and then I guess it was like say an armory. Mm-hmm. They needed the barrel off this one to make a full, on this one, so they have the stock and all the trigger housing and all that. And then these guys went back through and like put a barrel on, so they're not all the same serial numbers. But I mean, shit, for $700, I wouldn't mind having an M1 Grand. Well,
yeah, so I'm looking it up right now. There's there used to be a thing like civilian firearm. There was a program where military surplus firearms would get released through them, and then you had to be a member of that group because they did like shooting and like shooting competitions and stuff like that. And then you could purchase, and this is old. I'm talking to like old stuff. I don't know how they do it now. I'm trying to remember the name.
Grand? Old?
Yeah, because they recently let out like they were selling a bunch of 45s.
Oh, that'd be cool. What about
civilian marksmanship program?
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, they're authorized a corporation to sell surplus 30 and 22 caliber military rifles, parts, and ammunition to qualified U.S. citizens for marksmanship.
Yeah.
So I think it's a way for you to own a rifle that you wouldn't normally be able to because you're buying it because you're doing it for
SIG's
whatever.
Releasing the trial for the U.S. Army. Did you see that?
I think they're getting ready to replace a saw with that weapon again, or something. They're replacing one, or maybe a 240.
No, I'm talking about the service pistol, not revolver.
Is that what it is?
It was what's the one you have? The M226? Is that the one you had with your unit engraved on the slide?
Oh yeah, that's the SIG 226.
Yeah, so that I think SIG sent the U.S. Army trial weapons.
To try it for that,
and they're actually U.S. government got everything engraved in the slide and. So then these were the test weapons. So the Army fired, say, 1,000 rounds through each pistol. And now SIG's sending them all new ones. So the U.S. government's getting ready to release these.
Oh, they're going to sell the original.
Trial weapons.
That's cool.
$700 though.
Well, SIG 226 Combat, which is the one. No, I don't have the Combat. Or maybe, I don't know. I got the SIG 226. Yeah, SIG 226 Combat is what I have. If you go to their website, they sell those for like $1,300, I think. I think from the website. You can get them, though, at dealers and stuff for like $800, $900. Or, no, it'd be more than that. It'd be like $1,000 probably. Because I think I paid, with the discount, because we were doing a group purchase and everything like that, I think I paid like $860. And that's with engraving and shit like that. So it was a good deal.
Yeah. But you're also buying more than one.
Yeah, we bought a lot.
Yeah.
I volunteered to like be in charge of it.
Worst mistake of your life.
Dude, the entire battalion. Buying pistols, hit me up, where's my pistol? I'm EASing, I'm moving, I'm doing that. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I can't make them fast enough, or make them faster. But I fired that pistol. Some guys get deployment guns and don't shoot them. I fired that one probably over 1,000 rounds through it, and I haven't had any issues with it. So that's a good pistol.
I believe that's the one they had. It looked like it was similar to.
Yeah, might be.
To what you had.
They're changing up a lot of stuff.
But I think that's cool. Like me and the guy I work with, he's a big gun guy, and he was talking like, I'd like to have it. You know, just because it says U.S. government on the slide, and but he's like for $700. I mean, I'm like, but were you gonna use it? You're not gonna carry a full size pistol. Obviously.
No.
You know, that's more like going to be. I'm gonna take it out.
Chad was
once a
carrying
week.
his 1911 for a while as a concealed
I
carry.
mean, I have
Chad's
my-
a big dude though. He's like 6'3".
Yeah, I have a Commander, 1911 Commander.
Is that big
It's
too?
smaller.
Oh,
It's
okay.
smaller.
Yeah.
It's a 5
I'm
barrel.
not like, I have a bunch of guns and I just keep getting more. Like I'm not, I just keep getting more. And I'm not really buying them. Like these were the two I just got were I inherited. But I'm not like a big gun guy. Like I love going shooting and stuff like that, but I'm not like, I can't be like, oh yeah, this one with this specs, and the trajectory drop, blah blah. That's not me.
Yeah.
So I could talk about guns. I could be like, yeah, this one shoots really well and this and that. But some dudes get super into it. Like
Just
Chad.
like anything.
Chad is someone that can sit down and be like,
Talk about trajectories of different powders and
pins, springs. I changed out the trigger to this.
Yeah.
I did this, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, man.
he definitely should be like a gunsmith. He should like start gunsmithing on the side.
So that's a hard thing to do, just because of.
Well, I mean, yeah, he might have to have an FFL, but
Well, not even that, but the whole liability portion of it. Because if you work on someone's gun and something happens, then
yeah.
so that's something I would think you would definitely want, like the proper credentials and like insurance and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's good. Like he knows.
Yeah, he's worked on a few. He was bummed. He was asking if I wanted to sell him that 270, that Ruger 270.
Well, that's a Mark II.
Yeah.
That's an old. I mean, that's.
No, it's not old. That's a pretty. I mean,
they're older.
yeah.
The ones you have are definitely older.
Yeah,
I'd say like 80s.
No way.
Yeah.
Pretty sure my uncle bought those. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think they're that old.
I'm looking it up.
No, just because, they released it in 1980 or whatever. I don't know. I remember when I got to Pendleton, there was a guy. There was on Facebook. There's a group called Mendleton that we get on, and you used to sell shit on there. They don't really do it anymore. Is that when it came out?
Yeah.
Do they manufacture them still?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They could still be manufacturing them.
I'm just saying those look older.
That's because they're wood. They're not dangerous black guns. Well, the one is. Damn it with that synthetic stock.
Oh, it has a synthetic on it?
The Mossberg one does.
Oh.
Yeah,
So you have one Ruger,
one Ruger and one Mossberg. Yeah, the Ruger is a wood stock. It's a nice rifle. I'm excited to shoot it. Yeah. I've never shot that caliber, so it'll be fun to shoot. Get it dialed in and then take it out. And my kid's been wanting to go hunting, so I'm all about it.
Like you were saying, bighorn sheep.
Yeah, I like hiking and stuff, so I think that's just another. I like backpacking.
Yeah.
People are like, I like hiking, and they, yeah, I really love hiking. They put on their little profiles and shit. They mean they like grabbing a bottle of water and walking like a 2-mile loop around something.
Yeah.
But like when you backpack in, I think it's awesome. You get away from everybody and you see animals and shit. So now, no reason not to try to get your own meat.
Like a guy I work with just went to Colorado and horsebacked in and was bow hunting for elk.
Yeah, that's sick. That's tough, man. Bow hunting for elk.
Yeah.
You ever watch Meat Eater? No, that's a good show. You should watch that. The hunting on there, like some of the hunts he goes on.
Good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's one they show like Joe Rogan is like stalking some deer. He gets like 45 yards from them and then like loses the light and shit. Like, it's cool watching them hunt all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Like one of the first episodes. I think they don't have the first couple seasons, but like one of the first episodes on the show. That I think they try to take a moose or something, and it like doesn't go down and starts chasing them through the woods. Like starts to chase them through the fucking brush. I'm like, damn, that's pretty sick, man. But this dude's hunting in Alaska and Canada.
All the good spots.
Yeah, but good spots. Depends on how you look at it.
Like for animals.
It's definitely good. No, but like some people aren't going to want to go start out at 5,000 feet and climbing around up and down mountains to get an animal.
Well, do you ever watch Alone?
No.
Well, it's like it's a show on History Channel, so they like drop, I think, 10 people off by themselves in these remote locations.
Mm-hmm.
This year was someplace in Canada, and this guy took a moose with a freaking recurve bow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Then he had all this meat. But
did he have experience beforehand?
Yeah, he'd been to like Russia and trained with the I'm not trained, but
So these people all have like outdoor wilderness experience.
Yeah, they're all like, most of them are like wilderness instructors.
Yeah, you're not grabbing mom from the burbs.
It's not like Naked and Afraid. I love your show. I'm gonna come on there.
Yeah, I'll get naked.
Yeah,
I've never seen that one either.
But
so he took
that's
skill, man.
Yeah, he took a full-on moose down.
They had a video of it.
Yeah. I mean, they filmed themselves. There's no film crew.
Oh, okay. So it's like Les Stroud, like Survivor Man style.
Yeah, that style. And he's like out there, and then this Wolverine, he builds like this rack up top of these trees and has us meet. Well, he leaves the ladder up, and the Wolverine climbs up there. Oh, so he ends up trapping the Wolverine, and kills it with a hatchet.
You mean the wolf?
Wolverine.
Is it an actual Wolverine?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he kills it with a hatchet. And
it sounds like, see, that's the kind of person that'll live when all the shit goes crazy.
And I'm like, you just killed a moose. Then you kill a Wolverine with a hatchet.
Yeah.
I mean, like I watched the Alaskan shows, and those dudes are scared as hell with a rifle. And you're killing a Wolverine with a hatchet.
Yeah.
And then, but it's crazy. He's out there surviving. He has all this meat. Say he's got 500 pounds of meat.
Well, yeah, after you kill a moose, you're
I
sitting
don't
pretty
know how
after
much
that.
it is, but he's actually starving because a moose is a lean animal. There's not a lot of fat.
Yeah.
And that he had like rendered a bunch of fat and saved it. Well, the first thing that Wolverine ate was all that fat.
Oh, okay.
So then he's like, "Oh fuck!" and he's about ready to tap. But you should watch it. It's a good show.
I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out. I don't know, but shooting's good, man. Being outdoors is fun.
Yeah, I mean, like we go 4-wheeling.
You guys ever run into animals out there when you're riding your side by sides?
Yeah, I mean, like how many times? Well, at least a couple times we've seen deer, like at the Badlands.
Yeah. What's your favorite places to go out off roading?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What part?
Oliver Springs, Windrock. It's awesome place, man. Like especially being from flat Indiana, you go to some place that actually has elevation.
Yeah.
And man, it's cool. And like they have like elk, and of course we've never seen them, but like, we've seen snakes. I mean, you see that kind of stuff, but there's not really too much wildlife. I mean, everything, all that kind of stuff.
It's all scared when you got a bunch of off-road vehicles going crazy out there.
But it's cool though. Like that place is beautiful.
Do you do like mostly mudding, or do you do like more technical stuff?
Technical, like that's what I like. Technical rock crawling.
Yeah. What's like the most difficult thing you've done in that?
I don't know. I mean,
are there like certain trails? Like, are the trails rated?
Yeah, it's almost like skiing. Like so. Like,
okay.
Black is really hard. Just like. And then, like, I don't know what skiing is. I know double black diamond is, like, the hardest in skiing. And then, I don't know, like, bunny trails, and they have, like, gravel trails. But there's, it's kind of like a mix, because we've been to Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana. My dad went to Pennsylvania. But, I mean, we've been kind of all over the East Coast. And
yeah.
Like, the trails there are just so... Like, a green trail might be a black trail somewhere else.
Okay.
So, like, it's really... You can get into the most... Well, around here, like, there's hardly any rocks. I mean,
yeah.
There, you'll get into some stuff, and you're like, man, this is hard. And you're looking, it's only a green trail. So, I can only imagine what a black trail would be.
Yeah.
I've never done them.
What do you think your vehicle is ready for?
Well, after I do these upgrades, it should be...
What do you have? What's like
what do you mean?
What's like your base model, and what have you done to it?
So it's a 2018 Polaris XP Turbo, and I'm getting ready to put Super ATV's portals on it. So it's a gear reduction. So the axle will go into like a box with gears in it, and it reduces the amount of torque coming out. Basically lowers the. It's like a super low range, basically.
Okay.
So I'll be able to run 35-inch tires on a Razor.
Why would you want to do that?
More ground clearance, man.
That's it? Just a ground clearance?
Yeah, more ground clearance, and you're going to be, you take a 30-inch tire, the roll, it's not you're going to have more tread for, grabbing onto stuff, and
yeah, the
sidewall will fold, and all that stuff comes. I mean, if people that rock crawl know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I mean, I've literally had to build, like I'm building the Razor for the portals. Because it's going to be, you put that box and each one of them say 100 pounds. hanging out off your A arms. You know, that's a lot of weight.
Oh, you got to put one on each wheel?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So.
Huh.
But, I mean, guys that have been running them, you know, they say they've saved $10,000 worth of axles.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to gun it, you can just crawl.
Yeah. So what's that going to lower your top speed down to, you think? Are they engaged all the time? Can you disengage it?
Yeah, they're engaged all the time. Probably 60.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, like, you're going 60 miles an hour in a Razor. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, there's really nothing there.
Yeah. It looks fun, dude.
They're a ton of fun.
Yeah. We'll have to get out on them sometime.
Yeah.
That's like I said before, that's like the thing that the military's going to.
Yeah.
They're all using those.
They're
mounted.
sweet.
They're putting 240 mounts on them and stuff.
I know. I've seen them online.
It's like when I was a kid watching in the Army now. You know, they had the Pauly Shore. Fuck yeah. And
and the sandrail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that was super cool.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Pauly Shore.
Look at Pauly Shore, man.
But yeah, it's cool. Definitely love it.
Yeah, off-roading, man. You got to have a hobby when you get out. Is that your main hobby, you think?
Yeah.
What other hobbies keep you busy?
Video games.
Video games? What kind of games?
It's Call of Duty.
Really? Why aren't we playing? Are you on the new one?
Yeah.
All right, well. When I get back to
Yeah,
San Diego,
I
I'll have to... Because what do you play on Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
It doesn't matter.
It's cross-platform.
Yeah, I'm Xbox as well, but...
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, man. Like video games.
What do you think about the new Call of Duty?
I like it.
Yeah.
I actually think it's like really good compared to the last.
I think it's harder. I think the multiplayer is harder.
Well, the time to kills, you know, it's there. Like it's no fucking around. You get shot twice, you're dead.
And there's some big levels. Do you play on hardcore or regular?
Regular.
Get out of here. Hardcore is the way to go, man.
What do you play? Team deathmatch?
Yeah.
I play Search and Destroy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like team deathmatch, just hardcore. That's just. I hate when you shoot someone, you have to shoot them like 5 times to kill them. You're like, what the fuck, man?
But I don't feel like in this one's like that. I feel like they've got
it's a little bit more accurate.
Yeah.
There is also that other mode, the realism mode,
yeah,
where it takes like everything off your screen. Like,
yeah,
I didn't like that. That was.
The night ones are pretty cool. Like
I don't like the night ones because anytime you aim, your laser's on.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, that's not real.
Yeah,
like what the fuck is this bullshit? You
well,
can't really sneak around and stuff.
But yeah, yeah, it's pretty good. Other than that, I mean, I like hunting, but I haven't done it for a while. I like guns, but I don't really shoot. I mean, I work a lot too much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think everyone gets into that. You know, especially in your 30s.
Yeah.
You're in like you're like trying to make money because there's like something cool you want.
Yeah, and my wife, she works just as much as me, so
yeah,
kind of works out. I mean, she's busy, I'm busy.
Take your trips down to do off-roading.
Yeah.
How often do you take like a big trip like that?
Try to go 3 times a year.
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, we try to do spring, summer, fall.
What's your favorite time of the year to go?
The fall's cool because like the leaves are changing and sometimes. But like the only time we went to West Virginia, like it rained the whole time because it's spring or fall.
Yeah.
And it just happened to fall and like
West Virginia's rugged, man.
It's cool though. Like West Virginia is beautiful, man.
I haven't spent too much time like in West Virginia doing shit, but I used to drive through there constantly from Lejeune.
Yeah.
And I've stopped a few places and stuff like that, but it's rugged.
Yeah.
There's some rugged terrain out there.
It is just absolutely beautiful though.
Yeah.
And and that's why I said I want to go out west and go because like Colorado, like Utah, California, like there's a lot of places. And that's the good thing about the off-road community. You could go anywhere and, I think the only thing that bothers me is like, so you go out into this beautiful, like West Virginia's not like that, but there's a lot of places like Kentucky. We went in October this year. This place is beautiful. Like some of the most scenic trail riding I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And you pull up and there's like a pile of beer cans.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, you're that lazy that you're sitting there, you stop somewhere, and you're drinking, you have a cooler in your Razor. Throw the empties in the cooler.
Yeah, people don't care about the environment, man.
I mean, I'm not a huge environmentalist, and I'm not trying to say, but that, I mean, like, you're just on this like some of the most scenic trail riding. This trail's called Jurassic Trail.
Yeah.
And it looks like Jurassic Park.
Oh, really?
Like there's these huge vines and
yeah.
I mean it's just awesome and then you see that.
That's the same kind of feeling I get when I'm out backpacking and you come across like rocks that have tagging on them. Yeah. You're like, what the fuck, man? Like, why would you like?
I don't understand that mindset.
Me neither, man. I like to go to this place. There's a place called Bridge to Nowhere, and
you showed me pictures.
Yeah, the Angeles National Forest. Like, for those that don't know what it is, look it up. Bridge to Nowhere, California. It's super cool. It's a bridge made in like the 20s or something that the road was washed away, and by the time the road was washed away, another bridge had been built elsewhere that kind of filled the purpose. So they never rebuilt the road to this bridge. So now there's this bridge across this like big ass gully, Bridge to Nowhere. And you have to hike out to it. And then on the way out, it's like probably just over 5 miles or something like that, 5 mile hike out. It says it's shorter than All Trails, but it's definitely longer than what All Trails says. But on your way out, the first like 2 or 3 miles, you'll see tagging where people have just stopped and like spray painted on rocks and shit. And you're just like, what the fuck, man? Because people come down there to swim in the river. So families come down there and do birthday parties and shit, and then people walk down, they'll throw beer cans down. You're just like, that's why I like going backpacking, not like hiking like people like, oh, I'm going to go hike. I'm going to walk this hill that everyone else walks every Saturday. I like to like during the week, like on a Tuesday, go out into the actual wilderness because nobody's out there.
Yeah.
Like there's no one there. It's you and the animals. It's quiet or, just the nature.
Yeah.
And it's just like, get away from everything for a little bit.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really shitty when you see something like that. But people are assholes, man.
That's true. Like people are just
I'll tell you what, I remember as a kid, I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I remember it wasn't uncommon to see someone just throw a bag of trash out of the car window. Like, oh, we ate our fast food, throw the fucking trash out the window.
Yeah. Because
it was the 80s. This is like
remember we did that with your mom?
This is like 89 or 90. What?
Me and Jared, which is Justin's brother. So your mom's like, hey, you got to take this trash down to the 9th Street dump. So this is back when we were in high school, obviously. Jared's like, fuck that. Let's go smoke this blunt somewhere. And I was like, all right, cool. So we're on 420 Road, And he's like, just throw the trash out right on the side.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So listen. So I throw it out.
Was I there?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was just me and Jared. So I throw it out on the road. Like a week goes by. When the sheriff comes to your mom, because she's like obviously got her mail in there. And she's like, you need to go. She was so mad at
I don't
us.
remember that.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her on New Year's Eve.
Dude, that's funny.
She was so pissed at us, though. She's like, I just told you to fucking take it to the dump. I mean, like.
That's funny. I can't believe you threw it out like a dick.
Fuck, I was like 17, dude. I didn't give a fuck.
What were you driving when you were 17? What would you have then? Did you have the Mustang?
Well, when we first started hanging out, I had the Supra. Because remember, it'd always break down.
Did you have... No.
Yeah, the blue Supra.
I don't know. I think maybe you had the Del Sol.
No.
You go through more cars than anybody I know. How many cars did you have in high school?
5, 6.
You're counting like, and it's like you're just trading them out.
Yeah, I mean, like cars. Like I'm serious, dude. Like if I ever hit the lottery, I would live in my house and have a garage full of fucking cars.
You'd be like Jay Leno.
Yeah, because like cars and motorcycles, and I think they're just so cool, man. Like,
what's the coolest car you've owned?
I mean,
you've had a lot of regular cars. You're not like some.
I like my Supras.
I don't want people to think that you're like some rich kid with like.
No.
Yeah, these are like regular.
Yeah. Like the red Supra I had when I got out of the Marine Corps. Like it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I like Supras. I like imports. I mean, I like exotic. I like everything, dude. Like
yeah, you had that Mustang. That Mustang was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that 5.0.
I did like that coupe the Fox body.
Yeah.
The cool thing is so like the engine of my truck.
Yeah.
Like the guys are changing the heads and stuff on that and putting those in. Dude, that's basically a Coyote 5.0.
Oh, really?
There after you change the heads out.
Huh.
So guys are taking those, finding wrecked F-150s and switching that out and putting those in Fox bodies.
Huh. Nice.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. When they switched out when they updated the motor to the Coyote motor.
Yeah.
Like the Mustang is way better because it was so underpowered.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
I mean, they're always cruising for a crowd.
Yeah. Basically.
No, but there's a guy out by me who's got lives out somewhere out by me and my wife. He has to have like 5 Lamborghinis.
So you have a black one?
He has a black.
Dude, I think I just saw him cruising the other day. I was like, God, check this Lambo out in Lafayette.
Yeah, man. And then like he has a couple Porsches. Which is, from here, is rare. You don't see Gallardos or Murcielagos or any of that stuff in Lafayette, Indiana. I mean, you see a lot of GTRs because of Purdue.
Yeah.
GTRs
are like they're like an underestimated
really
sports car.
I love them.
The new GTRs, like, especially if you get one of the later model ones, not like the first editions.
Like, what are you talking, R35s, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about like one of the newer R35s. The first couple years, you can get the first couple years for pretty cheap now. They had some issues, I think, with their trannies or something like that. But overall, those are really good cars. Yeah, you don't really see those kinds of cars out here in Lafayette. Even at car shows, it's mostly muscle cars, old school cars.
You don't even I feel like Lafayette especially, like back in the import scene, like there's a couple guys running around K-swap Civics out here. But I mean, like, you go to like San Diego, that'd probably be like a norm. Everyone's K-swapped, or if you even see a Civic,
dude, the car meets in San Diego are insane. Like, it blew my mind. Like, I would go, because I got the Evo, right? Yeah. I bought my Evo, and then I was at Lejeune, and I was like, hey, they're going to have like a little car meet, like a meet up with some other Evo. And there was like 4 or 5 of us would get together, go cruise around, whatever.
Well, it was cool though.
We didn't meet up. We weren't the McDonald's crew that would meet up at the McDonald's on the corner of whatever that highway is right there. But so, and I was like, this is cool. We got up to almost like 10 people one time, and I was like, this is crazy. And then I got to Pendleton, and I got on Instagram, started like finding the car meets out there. Dude, there's a meet every day. You can find a car meet. If you're willing to drive an hour, you'll find a car meet basically every night. And I started going to a ton of them. And some of them are super chill, whatever, like old dudes. Like usually your morning meets are all the old dudes, like Saturday weekend meets, cars and coffee and stuff like that. And then in the evening time, I mean, there was one meet I would go to on Thursday nights. They do one Thursday a month, and there'd be hundreds of cars would show up. Yeah. It would just be like, hey, we're meeting here, found a spot, and we would use that spot once a month until the cops kicked us out, and then we find a different spot. And the kid that was running this, like when he started, it was like 17. He was like making these car meets, and then at like 11 o'clock at night, people would start already starting to filter away, but some of the more hardcore car guys would hang back, and then they'd start being like, hey, Johnny wants a race. Hey, so-and-so wants a race. And wherever you're in California, dude, you're always next to the freeway. Like, you're always pretty close to the freeway.
So you're always roll racing.
Yeah, so we would roll from what this kid would do. He started using his money from buying other shit or from working to buy GoPros and stuff. And he'd be the one over here, like, setting these races up. This fucking, like, 18-year-old kid. And then he'd be like, once the race is set up, he'd go and put GoPros in both drivers' cars, and then he'd go out and film the racing. And so if you go on YouTube, SD Street Scene, SDSS, that's the stuff that he would run. But dude, you're talking about 800 horsepower Corvettes, sitting there going, hey, who wants to race? Yeah. Who want, a Supra rolling up with a turbo in it that looks like a goddamn platter dish, like massive. This thing's rolling over 800, 900 horsepower. Like, some of these dudes are serious. It's like legitimate, like, class racing, and they'll line them 4 across, on the 5 or the 15. Everyone slows down to, like, whatever the speed was that they all agreed to, like 20 or whatever. You just hear everyone's like, like, downshifted super hard. Someone honks and just take off. And, dude, it's sick, man. Yeah. It's great. And the car scene here is just insane. In California, in San Diego, not in Lafayette. And if you go up to like, if you're listening and you're going to go visit San Diego and you want to see like the best cars you can see all at one time, then go to South Orange County Cars and Coffee. every Saturday they have it at the outlet mall in San Clemente. And dude, it's like, imagine like a Walmart parking lot, one whole row all the way through the entire parking lot is just Lambos and Ferraris and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Sweet.
And Maseratis like whatever, dude. That's like I'm rich and I want to buy a car, but I bought a Maserati. You know?
Yeah, there's a couple Maseratis around here.
Maseratis aren't that fast.
They don't really do nothing for me.
No, they're cool, but they're not that fast. They're underperforming.
Well, I was somewhere out there in SoCal. They had a Zonda.
Yeah.
Some guy had a Zonda, which is not even legal to drive in the States because it's all carbon fiber and
you see everything out there, man.
But
You're
talking
about
like a $3 million car.
Yeah, I've gone out there and seen. You go out there. There's a dude that comes out and brings his Ferrari F40, which is $1 million.
Yeah,
you know, that's $1 million car. There were two Porsche Spider. I think it's the 860 or whatever, the hybrid ones. Those are 860 or not 860. That's the price. What is it? The Porsche. I can't remember what it's called, but those are $860,000 each, and there were two of them parked next to each other. You know, at this meet, and this meet has hundreds of cars, and you can just pull up. Like, it doesn't matter whatever car you have. You can pull up in a fucking, you know, beat up Civic and just park. Yeah. Like, it's not like, oh, this is only for. Like, it's very like pull up. Hey, pull up. They're selling food. There's a restaurant that's in the mall there. They come out and they sell coffee and donuts and stuff.
Well, that's cool.
And you just walk around. You'll see YouTube personalities out there like walking and recording themselves. Like, da-da. Yeah. So that's kind of weird. But dude, old cars too. These old school Southern California dudes with these old school fucking super sick Woodies with like their surfboards on top and stuff. Yeah. And you're just looking at it like, that is sick. Or like an old VW bus. Like, you see, like, if you can get, I think it's the 21 window buses. Yeah. Those things are worth like $160,000. Yeah. You know?
You can't even find those things.
There's one cruising around Oceanside. There's a dude I saw
remember
him.
You said that you were telling me about it.
Yeah, I talked to him at O'Reilly's. He pulled up at the same time I did, and I was just kind of bullshitting with him, and he brought it. He said his brother brought it back from Germany in the 70s. His brother was in the Army, and I was like, that's fucking sick. And he drives it every morning. If you go to the beach in the morning, if you're a surfer and you go down to the beach every morning, you'll see this dude cruising. He cruises at like 6 to 8 in the morning. He's always cruising downtown Oceanside.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just nothing like it out there, man. The car scene's crazy. We used to have the Camp Pendleton Auto Club is what we had when I was on base. I started hoping to build this group up, and we would have over 100 cars come to a meet. And you're talking about cars, trucks. You got Jeeps over in the corner stacked up on each other like they do. You know, you got the urban cowboys with their, you know, jacked up fucking Dodge Rams with like underglow and like 40-inch wheels and everything else on them. You know, like,
I don't like that style. That's one.
You know, and people
it's not for me.
People would give them shit about it, and they're like, "You're the rice burners of the truck community," and they're like, "You know what? Whatever, man." They're like, this one dude's like, "These wheels cost me $7,000. You think I'm going to take them off roading?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean,
not really.
I don't
take a 3/4 ton truck off roading anyway."
Yeah, I don't get it, but. It's not my thing.
It's not my thing.
Just like riding around in donks isn't my thing. You know, you'd see those cruising around North Carolina.
Yeah, but
one of them Frosted Flakes wrapped across the entire thing.
There was a Pepsi one around here and was there? Cheetos.
I don't get it, man.
But what's whatever. I think that's the cool thing about the car community is, you know, most people aren't assholes. If you like a lowrider, that'd be cool because I really like lowriders. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, SoCal's like the mecca of lowriding.
Yeah, you can get into some, like, if you get down to like the more Hispanic communities.
Dude, like, I watch videos online and like that's some of the coolest to me.
Some sick cars, some old school sedans that are just like tricked out. Yeah. And you know, they got the awesome painting, like
the murals and
it's
but that's cool
wide
thing about being
variety.
Car guys, you know, most car guys are, if you're a car guy, you're a car guy. Like, it might not be your taste, like those trucks. I don't personally care for them, but I mean, there's a lot of talent that goes into making a truck like that.
Yeah. The thing about car meets in California too is that if you go to a nighttime meet in the evening time where it's like you get a lot of the imports and stuff like that, there's always assholes there. Yeah. It's more high school kids. It's a lot younger of a crowd. It's more. I don't really go anymore, and that's kind of one of the reasons I sold my Evo too. It's just like
rowdy.
You show up and you're like the old dude there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm the only owner. I was the only owner of that car. I had it for years, but you'd show up and be like, some like 20-year-olds and 22-year-olds, and I'm like, I'm in my 30s at that point. But the nighttime meets can get rowdy and shit. Like dudes that's when you see the dudes will start doing burnouts in the fucking like intersection stuff like. And that was more north. North of base was always more rowdy. When you went up to like Anaheim or LA,
well, that's Supercar Suspect on YouTube. He always films those night meets.
The rowdy ones are more up north. Down south, they could get kind of rowdy a little bit, but they were usually more chill. In San Diego, were definitely more chill. But the biggest meet I ever went to was the Paul Walker Memorial meet. There was like a birthday, and I was like, there was like this Paul Walker birthday meet, and I was like, dude, I got to go to this. I'm like, it sounds stupid. It's like an hour drive. It's up in Long Beach or by Long Beach or whatever. I was like, but I'm going to go check this out. Dude, I am so glad I went to it. There were probably like, I don't even know, between 4,000 and 5,000 cars. Like it was. Imagine a main strip through like any town that has like a Walmart and a Lowe's. You know how you always have that strip that has all those big box stores? Imagine like a strip like that, like a mile long, and every parking lot on both sides is completely full. The road's completely full. Like it was initially a sanctioned event. Like the cops knew it was going to happen, but it just became so overwhelming. Dude, I've got video of dudes just like doing burnouts in parking lots and shit. Helicopters are flying over. They ended up having to shut down all the road. Didn't matter where you were going when you left here. They blocked off every road, and you had to get on this freeway going this direction, like no matter what. And they just went down the road and one at a time cleared out each parking lot, just pushed everybody out. And it was everything from, again, like shitty little, Honda Civics or whatever to like supercars, that were out there. And it's pretty wild. The car community is cool out there. And on Pendleton, what I was getting at with the north and south, like being rowdy on Pendleton on base, the way we had it, it was always pretty cool. Everyone respected everybody. Like you talk shit to other guys and stuff like that, but overall it was a respectful environment. We always made sure that we tried to make it like family friendly. We put it out there like, hey, it's a family event. Bring your kids, and you'd see wives and kids. It's a Friday night. We did every other Friday night. And they'd be out there just like, oh, cool, check this car out. Oh, cool, check this car out. You'd laugh at some of them. You'd see
chairs and
you'd see people out their car all stanced out. It's stupid. The wheels, the wheels sticking out. I'm like,
another style I don't like.
Yeah, I think it's retarded. But what are you gonna do?
But yeah, I do like. I mean, there's a lot of dudes run K-swap Civics, man. Like it's simple.
There was a Civic in Jacksonville, in North Carolina. It was a brown. It had that like shitty brown color that kind of looked like the brown, like you would think of like an old terrorist style like Mercedes. If you think of an old diesel Mercedes, that tan color, it was like that tan color. It had like the steel wheels on it. It didn't have any like nice wheels. And this dude would race people and smoke all kinds of people. And you wouldn't really know anything was done to it until he fired it up. And it was running like, I think it was over 500 horsepower or something like that. Maybe closer to 6. And and just destroying everybody. Just going through, and because people would put money on it. Like, yeah, I'll race you. Fuck yeah.
Oh, that piece of shit. Yeah.
There was, when you were at Lejeune, was Viper Guy there?
Yeah.
The Viper Guy that would sit at the corner at that McDonald's and just sit there and lean against his car?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about Viper Guy until just now.
But like, when I was at Lejeune, it was all about, that. Of course, that's early 2000s. So that's when the big rims was huge, like, just started.
Well, and you're in the South too.
24s, like my buddy Josh had, Josh.
Yeah.
He had 24s on his Expo. Like, that's kind of like what everybody's thing was. I mean, which is cool. I like that style.
People got to embrace more stuff like that when they get out. That's the stuff people have to do. Have a hobby like that. Have a car, you're into off-roading. Yeah. Some people get into shooting. You got to get into something.
Yeah.
Some people just get too wrapped up about what they did or they did not do while they were in the military, and then
it's just you really think, unless like Sergeant Major Offit. I mean, that dude, that was his life. I mean, 34 years or whatever he did. That a lot of these dudes like me, 4 years. Dude, 4 years in the civilian world goes by like that, dude.
Yeah,
and people hold that against them, like you said, whether what they did or what they didn't do, and. Man, you just fucking live life. I mean, I know some people, I'm not trying to say people that didn't see do terrible things, but I mean,
what's the other option?
I mean,
that's the thing. Like, live
I mean,
a life
life's fucking good, dude. life's whatever you make it.
Exactly.
And I think that's what a lot of people forget. Like,
you just have to be able to come to terms with your past.
Yeah, just fucking roll with it.
You know how many guys are like have issues that because they never got to deploy? There's a lot of dudes that'll tell you that got out that never got to do a combat deployment or never deployed at all, and it like fucks with them.
Yeah,
you know they feel like they wasted their time, or they're not really worthy.
But like, what was I saying to you when we were coming back from your sister's house? Like I really wish, like, yeah, I did the combat tours, you know, on motor T, not a grunt, whatever. But you know, I went to Iraq twice.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't get to go to Hong Kong or Singapore, or get to see, you know, like I've told Justin this a million times. Like I remember when Sparks came to my house, dude, and like he was like, you have this like key fob with all this shit, you know, like all these, you want to see the world, and you know, the typical recruiter,
the recruiter thing. They still use those,
yeah. And I'm like, you know, once again, I'm from Indiana, never been anywhere, and I'm like, fuck it, man, I want to see the world. The world, I mean, now as you know, I'm an adult. Like the world's fun. Just the United States is cool, but let alone the rest of the world. And like you got to go do crazy fun stuff in like Hong Kong. Like I was listening to the episode 19 with Farrell and those guys. And they were talking about the shit they did in Hong Kong. That'd be fucking awesome, man, because you got to go experience another culture. Number one,
yeah.
And I think, you know, a lot of people discount that. You know, like culture's fucking huge.
People discount it because a lot of people get off ship and go just get hammered and get blackout.
You guys talked about that,
and that's all they do. Yeah,
which is fun, but also like if
you got to plan date. Like you can't just wake up and start drinking. You can, but
yeah.
I think if you do that, you're gonna regret.
But like your pictures that like when you were in Singapore, like the pictures you posted on social media, like I'm like, God damn, dude, like awesome. The cars. The shit, you know, I mean, the culture would be cool, man.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely cool to go.
I'm really upset I never went to Okinawa.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go there and check it out.
You know, and you know, hear all the they got libo, you know, like
the libo restrictions and all that.
You know, like, but just to go experience like that rice, that rice.
Oh, taco rice,
and shit.
Taco rice and cheese.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all. If anybody from Ogie, that's all they talk about is taco rice and cheese.
You know, and I'm kind of like. I'm a huge family guy too, so that's why I selected North Carolina, because it'd be easier to drive. But I really wish I would have like went to Cali, or
you selected it.
You know, like you know how you didn't select it, but you know that
you're glad you got put there.
No, like I'm not. I wish I would have went to the West Coast or Okie. You know how you put.
Well, in retrospect, at the time, were you glad you got put?
Oh yeah, I'm
exactly.
like I can drive home. You know, which is.
Still not close. It's still like 13 hours.
It's important, but it's not. You know, like in the grand scheme of things, if I'd known I was going to get out. See, I didn't plan on getting out. So that's I planned on staying in the Corps, but I was like, I'll do 4 years at Lejeune, then I'll go somewhere else, because obviously, you know, you have to.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
You think.
I
did 7 there before I went anywhere. But, you know, I like Lejeune. Yeah, I honestly didn't want...
TT, though.
I honestly didn't want to go to California.
But you're glad you did.
Yeah. Now, in retrospect, yeah.
But yeah, I wish I would have selected a different, or, you know, tried to wish, or whatever the hell you call it, for a different. West Coast would have been cool. I think I would have liked Okinawa.
Yeah. It's different, man. It's different being around other cultures.
Like my buddy Keen, he's still in. He's a gunny now, and he's been in Oki for, I don't know, like 6 years.
Some guys love it. I knew a guy who went there. Met his wife there, an Okinawan woman, married her, came back to the States, and then requested to go back. Like there was another guy that got orders to go to Okie, and he didn't want those orders.
Yeah.
And he tried to trade with this other. This was so fucked up. This is so messed up. Both these dudes were both new JTACs, both had deployed. Both were forward observers. Obviously, they were both staff sergeants, new staff sergeants at that. And one got orders to Okinawa, and the other one got orders somewhere else, and they were like, "Hey, maybe we can trade," you know, because the other one had an Okinawan wife. He wanted to go back to Okinawa, and he just loves, you know, Japanese culture. So they call the monitor, who, for those that don't know, that's the person that decides what unit you're going to and all that shit. Call the monitor, and they're like, "Hey, I'm here with so and so, and he's got orders to here, and I got orders to here, and we'd like to switch." And the monitor's like, "No, man." He's like, "You're going to Okinawa." And the kid was like, well, what if I don't? He's like, well, if you don't, you can get out. He's like, you can either re-enlist or you can either take the orders or deny orders and then get out.
Get out. Yeah.
So he's like, fuck it, man. I'm getting out. I'm not going to go to Okinawa. Gets out, and then they send the other dude to Okinawa anyway. Gave him the orders anyway. So just lost a dude that you spent $1 million on, training him to be a JTAC. He's got experience now. He's done stuff. And now he gets out because the monitor's a douchebag about it.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's a simple trade.
Yeah, but some people, like that guy, liked Okinawa, you know?
Yeah, but like Keen, I think he's like scuba diving. And
Okinawa's different for different people. You know, for single guys in the barracks, I think it's a rage fest. And then I think for family people, I think it's a good time.
Yeah.
You know, they let their kids in Okinawa, like people always tell me, like it's so safe. The kids walk themselves to school, you know, like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And they'll just walk up to like the side of the street and they'll just raise their hand and all the traffic will stop. No matter, there's no crosswalk, no nothing. Like whenever they're walking, they just raise their hand and all the traffic stops and lets them cross. Little kids.
That's cool though.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you could never do that in the States.
No,
shit. Little things would get run over. Somebody was telling me
some chick be on Instagram fucking taking a selfie.
Somebody was telling me that some of the parents look down on the other parents that continue to take their kids to school when they're like 8, 9, 10. Because they're like, you got to let them
grow up.
Yeah. Experience life.
Yeah.
Like, step one, get yourself to school.
Walk to school, yeah.
Yeah, you know how to get there now.
I mean, I walked to school.
No, I rode the bus.
I mean, my school, my Mayflower.
Oh, yeah, you're like right around the corner. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been cool. I still like to go to Japan.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, but back to what we were talking about, like, it's all about what you make of it. The Marine Corps.
Yeah.
You know, you could be like me and just fucking party when you're in garrison and not give a fuck about anything and then have a good time when you're overseas. Get in trouble, not get promoted. I mean, that was all my choices. It wasn't no one who made those choices. And that's like in the civilian world. Like, you come out and, you know, you have the GI Bill. You have a lot of shit going for you, really, when you get out of the military.
Yeah.
Like, you guys talked about the other day on the podcast or whenever. I don't know if it was the other day, but the other day when I listened to it, you know, you're talking about, you learn all these teamwork, you know, I think, you know, in any branch of the military, you learn teamwork is number one.
Yeah.
So you bring that to the civilian world and you can implement that. You're going to, number one, I think people look at you as leadership roles.
Yeah.
Because you obviously have that. Doesn't matter your rank. And, you know, there's a lot of, you got the GI Bill.
I think you're also more accustomed to working with people from all over, too.
Yeah.
You get used to working with different personalities.
You know, not cultures, but like people from down south do different shit than what people from California do.
Yeah, you don't get to pick your squad.
Yeah. And you know, and I'm not saying, I mean, all my dudes, I hung out with everybody. Did
you listen to the Quentin Brown? The one with the dude that was a MARSOC JTAC at one point?
I don't know. That's like episode 5 or 6.
No, it was like
I'm on 19 right now.
Yeah, it was before that. It was like 16.
I kind of been skipping around though.
No, that's cool. Anyway, no, his was 18. Cool. Yeah, his was 18. Right. He talks about at the end of it. He was doing something with one of the other raiders, one of the other, MARSOC dudes. Yeah. And the dude like puts his foot up in front of him, like he's doing something. I think he's like putting his shoes on. He's sitting on a bench, putting his shoes on or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And this dude puts his foot up on the bench and has a swastika tattooed on it. And Quentin Brown is a black dude. And it was basically like, kind of like, hey, like, you see this kind of thing? Really? And I'm like, yeah. That's what I was like, no way. And
wow.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of blew my mind. I mean, I know racism exists and stuff like that, but
yeah,
I never really saw anything like that.
No. Like, I see the dudes with, like, the flags, the Confederate flags or whatever. The
riding around base and shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like, to me, that's... Again, I'm not going to try to get into the politics of it. I don't think that's racist. I mean, it's... it's part of history.
Depends on what you're using a flag for, I guess.
Like the monuments and all that shit. I don't think you should erase history. That'd be like trying to erase Auschwitz and all that other things, the terrible things that happened in Europe. You can't erase that shit because if you erase it, you don't remember it. And history will repeat itself.
Yeah, I think the people on the other side, just to play devil's advocate, are saying that it'd be like riding around with like a Nazi flag and being like, well, there were parts of it that we liked. It's just the history of it.
Well, there's nothing that anybody likes about the Nazis.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, I mean, the Nazis, Germany and Hitler came out with a lot of technologies that we still use.
Like V1 rockets, and there's a press still at Alcoa that's from Nazi Germany.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. For what?
I don't know. Whatever they use it for, some kind of aluminum press. But they still had, like when they brought it over, it still had the swastikas in the press.
What?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, like,
are they still there? The marking's still there?
No. I'm sure they took them.
They ground them off.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, technology.
Do you think they should have ground them off? Or you think they should have left them and been like, this is a piece of history?
Dude, like, you can't. I mean, in this day and age, I mean,
the whole company could go down for something like that.
Exactly. I mean, would you risk your probably $1 billion company?
Probably.
I would grind some shit off.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But, like, back to what I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, but people...
I see both sides. I can see both sides.
I mean, a monument that stood for... So why don't we erase Auschwitz then?
What do you mean?
Like, get rid of it. Tear it down.
Well, yeah, but that's not the same as telling someone that they can't have a Confederate flag. You're talking about an actual structure.
Yeah, but, like, what's a monument?
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess you want to look at it like that. I guess it depends on, like I said, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if people are running around being racist, like...
Yeah, if you're an overt racist and you're, like, trying to claim that it's like, oh, it's just Southern heritage, you darn, just cussing.
I mean, they're actually traitors to the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people don't realize that, but, I mean, they were.
I know. Dude, I grew up in Southern Tennessee, man. I used to go to the Chickamauga battlefield, and we would go to... In Chattanooga, you have Signal Mountain and you have Lookout Mountain, and they were strongholds where the Confederate Army and stuff, like, there was huge battles down there. Yeah. So Civil War history, like, all that stuff is like there's some people that really get into it in the South.
Yeah.
Like, it's a legitimate thing. So I like I said, I get both sides. I could see where, as an African American, you look at it like a Jew would look at someone flying a Nazi flag. I can kind of see that because your people were enslaved or whatever. Your people were enslaved, were put in human bondage.
I mean, I see that point, but I feel like if you erase history, then it's doomed to repeat itself.
I agree with that, with like monuments and statues and stuff like that, because there's a ton of...
I'm not talking about dudes that are flying the flag. I'm talking about you tear a statue down of Robert E. Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't there a base named after him?
Is there? Fort Lee? Fort Lee in Virginia?
I think, yeah. I mean, like, he was important enough.
I think that's in Virginia. I don't know.
But
I know what you're saying.
I mean, there's...
But see, now and then you have to kind of separate the fact that, yeah, he was against the U.S., he was part of the split, but he's also celebrated as one of the, like, most, brilliant tacticians.
Yeah.
And he was an American general until the whole, Civil War thing happened. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. But like I said, I see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I guess to a certain extent I see them too. But, I mean...
There was a guy riding around on Pendleton one time with a Mexican flag flying on the back of his truck.
See, that shit don't bother me.
See, that does, though.
Why?
Because I'm like, you're on base, man. Like, on base, I don't think that should be allowed on base.
So I did hear that.
Because you're active. Because
you're talking about when you talk to Sergeant Major Offit, you're talking about that where he had the flag on the pin on the tailgate and his seat was
No. Oh yeah. That was one of them. That was like some orange pickup truck that would have the Mexican flag flying on from the, how they always put the pole in the back. Yeah. And I just look at that like, dude, that's a different country. Like, that's an active country. Like, I don't know, man. If that culture is so great, then why are you here and not there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing to someone that's Irish flying an Irish flag. Yeah. Or people that claim Irish heritage.
Well, I mean, if you don't segregate it from, if you would say that to the same person that's flying a Nigerian flag or some other flag from other than the United States,
but it's the same argument that dudes that fly Confederate flags are like, it's a heritage, it's a heritage that they like, maybe they're a second generation immigrant.
How about this? How about we could quit getting offended by everything and let people just do what they want.
Oh, I don't really care.
No, but I mean that if more people just thought like,
I mean, I care, but I don't care enough to like actually do or say anything about it. I'm like, whatever, man.
Like, why? Is it hurting you?
When I see that, I'm like, you look more like an asshole than you do anything.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. People want to fly that shit, fly.
You're pumping up your little crew of people that will also fly a similar flag, whatever the flag may be. But everyone else are looking at it like, maybe not that.
I wish people would fly flags, American flags, like they did after 9/11.
Yeah.
Shit, you don't remember? I mean, they're like, well, you remember, but
yeah.
You couldn't even buy an American flag.
It was like, and if you found out the flag was made in China or something like that, it was like, what the fuck? You'd find out a store selling American flags made in China. You're like, get the fuck out of here with this.
But I mean, like, I wish there was patriotism like that.
You know what's weird is other countries, they don't fly their nation's flags.
I know.
Like in the U.S., you go down a neighborhood street and you see a couple American flags hanging up, or the little bonnet or whatever that stuff's called, bunting, not bonnet, bunting. The little bunting, like in their yards, in their garden, or something like that. But in other countries, you don't see it. They'd look at it as being tacky. Yeah. Like in the UK, it's like, why are you flying the British flag? That's kind of tacky. But the US, we're like, fuck yeah, America.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you lost...
It's probably because we kicked
I guess if you lost the Revolutionary War, you wouldn't be proud enough to fly it.
Yeah.
But whatever. All right, man. Well, we're almost 2.5 hours, so let's cut it here.
All right, man. Good talking.
Do you have any organizations or social media or anything you want to put out there?
Same thing. No, I'm good.
Cool. Well, if you listen to this one and you hadn't listened to the first episode that Michael was on, he was on episode, was it 4? Yeah, episode 4. So I hope you listen to that first, but if not, go back and check out episode 4 and we really talk about more in depth about
more military stuff.
Yeah. This is more of a bullshit session, which is cool. But yeah, so check out my website, jkramergraphics.com, and my Instagram, jkramergraphics, and the Instagram page, Former Action Guys, and also Twitter, 4 MER Action Guys. And all the J Kramer, it's JCRAMER, for those that may not have gotten that. Hit me up with any questions you have and any feedback. Make sure you guys subscribe, give a review. I've got, when I recorded this, we're recording this at the end of December, and it'll come out in January. I think I had 38 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, which I think that's the only platform that allows me to that allows people to put a review. So if you can, make sure you review it, make sure to subscribe and share it. So anyway, thanks everyone.
2.5 hours?